The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
This is a song I wrote about my love. I love you very much. Sometimes I want to touch, but I can't do that at the mall. You're very sexy. You have nice hair. I would follow you everywhere. You're my one true love. I love you all above. Raven Shadow, Raven Shadow. Today on the internet they claimed we used to not like each other, but I don't think they understand the love that
Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Hey. I like that.
Welcome all you little zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 251 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is a phantasmagorical spin kick straight through the heart of pop culture, navigated by the Deadites. The Deadites are the world's greatest electroshock band. We destroy monsters, we drink booze, we win championship belts, and apparently we continue after 250 episodes.
It's true.
We probably should have given it up.
I'm fucking pissed right now, though.
Well, not all of us.
Why are you pissed? Because I interrupted your song?
Yeah. I had a couple more verses.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
What's that called? A stanza?
A bridge.
Yeah, blackjack stanza. Like I had some fucking more left.
Yeah. That was a good song.
Creepy Girl says, thank you, Wolfie.
Hey!
Yeah, whatever.
All right, so I'm excited for tonight. You know, we just had an episode 250. Excitement was high. Drinks were had.
Oh.
Hangovers were had as well, Raven
My
Shadow.
Lord.
You need more.
I wasn't hungover.
You need more water, Raven Shadow.
I brought water.
Well, no, I meant last week.
Yeah, but the problem
Don't
is...
you understand? Like you're supposed to drink at least as much water as alcohol.
Hey, we're live. My phone told me. Hey, Wolfie, if we start.
I asked him a question.
Yeah, this is important though.
No.
If we start the review right now.
Yeah.
Fuck myself.
Yeah, well, we're only with like one half of what I was worried about with this review, so let's roll.
What?
Hey!
So we do because episode 250 was last week. I wanted to try to keep the excitement high. I didn't want to have a lull. I didn't want to have us, kind of coming down off of a high. So what we did was we went out and we recruited one of our good buds to help us out with this review, mostly because he's going to make us sound a lot smarter than we are.
Air quotes, good bud.
What? He's not your good bud?
No. He's OTC Club. Fucking great.
Oh, Mr. Sleepyhead!
Mr. On Time most of the time.
It gets better.
This is a trend.
Yeah,
2
look
weeks
at
in a
you.
row. Oh, look at this guy.
Oh, I came from
Look at
yoga
him.
class.
What'd you get?
He
You
slept so long he didn't have time to put his pajamas on.
You were shooting hoops outside? You wearing your basketball outfit?
This is workout clothes.
Yeah.
Just did some workout.
Celtics game 1. He's ready.
Well, I was just about to announce our guest, but we were so rudely interrupted by Mr. Sleepyhead.
Hey.
What's the reason that's this time?
I slept. I slept again.
What the fuck?
Ever since
Have you ever heard
250
of an alarm?
Never.
Did you tell a joke at your house and you passed out? Baby, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say this. Blah.
I kind of like this game because our guest is always super quiet when we don't like engage him or
Yeah.
introduce him. So I wonder how long we can go.
Are you sure that your special lady friend isn't roofing you?
I'm pretty sure. No, I just fell asleep, man. It happens.
Do you do it on purpose or by accident?
On purpose, of course. I try to get a little bit of sleep.
Shut eye?
Yeah,
Did you at
before I
least
come in.
snap the carrot first?
No.
Back the jerga?
No.
All right, let's introduce our special guest because he's going to make us look smart tonight. We have the Grand Poobah of the Talk Without Rhythm podcast, our buddy, one of the 5 Hossmen, the powerful and mighty El Goro.
What is up? And seriously, MC, you should probably go to the hospital. That sort of fatigue that you're experiencing may be a precursor to something very, very serious. You should probably get that checked out.
Yeah, well, maybe I should. I don't know. Maybe.
I try
I'll
to
do
give
that
you
as soon as I get out of here. How does that
advice, and you're
sound?
giving me shit. I hope you die.
Yeah.
I hope you die.
By the looks of him, he did, and just haven't caught up to him. He's wearing his nice funeral clothes.
Yeah, he is right.
Sleeveless shirt.
Sleepless Mike over here.
Sleepless Jack Johnson.
Seriously,
It's hot in there, man. You gotta rock the no sleeves.
Yeah.
he brought like a fucking gallon of water. He's wearing his basketball shorts.
He definitely looks like he
Tank
just
top.
got done like doing a pickup game down at the court.
Yeah, exactly. Were you playing a pickup game?
No. I picked myself up off the couch and said, "Oh shit, look at this! It's 9:10. Well, I think I better run." Well, actually, I thought it was, oh shit, it's 9:10. We're about to go on the air in about 10 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah. Mr. Charisma.
So before we get too carried away here, El Goro, if you would, tell folks about Talk Without Rhythm. Let them know what's been going on lately in your neck of the woods.
All right. In case you don't know, Talk Without Rhythm is the show that I do, where every week I talk about 2 different movies, somewhat tied together by a theme. This month is one of the more popular months I got. It's my month of animation, where I'm looking at animated films from all over the world. Just put out 2 episodes that are both focused on Japan and the directorial work of Mamoru Oshii, who may be most familiar to people for having directed 1995's Ghost in the Shell. Last one I did was his 2 films, Pat Labor and Pat Labor 2.
Oh, I know that dude. He's a cool dude, Pat Labor.
Yeah, Pat Labor. Oh, Pat Labor.
Is that 80s Pat Mars?
Yes.
Well, your mic's off, so we can't hear.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to.
He's just no selling me.
I'm
the
trying
entire time. He's still salty.
I'm trying
He's
to
still fucking salty.
Outside the cinema rules.
We're not on outside the cinema, man.
We're live, so you know.
Yeah.
I listened to your episode on Salo and Serbian film. I thought that was very
an
good.
Interesting one.
That was fun.
Very interesting one. Well, the weird thing is that was actually the first episode that Reverend Scott ever listened to.
Oh yeah.
So he's coming in on me doing that.
Nice. That must have been a pretty arduous week.
I mean, it all depends on your sensibilities. I know people that could watch Salo and Serbian film and it won't even faze them.
Oh, like MZ.
Hey, I'm not going to put words in
It
his
phases him. It gives him a bone steady.
mouth. As long as it ain't a bone sickness. But yeah, those movies are rough, man. Those movies will leave you in a darkened place, even if you have a high tolerance for gore. Just the tone of those films.
Yeah.
And then you start digging into the commentary behind them, start trying to engage with the philosophies of the filmmakers. It leads to some dark territory, but I'm glad it's behind me.
Let me ask you this. Now, which pair of films would you consider to be easier to take? The 2 that you just reviewed, or let's say Nymphomaniac and Antichrist?
Well, see, Nymphomaniac didn't really put me in a weird headspace, and the only thing that really got me with Antichrist was the kid dying in the very beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, let's replace Antichrist with Nymphomaniac 2.
But
You haven't watched Nymphomaniac 2 yet.
Oh, you haven't?
Around to that. Yeah, I need to get around to that. I've
Yeah.
watched the first one, but I haven't gone into the second one
Yeah,
yet.
I watched both those movies in one day. That was a heavy trip, man.
Were they the regular ones or the director's cut? Because apparently there's longer versions of them.
Oh, jeez. They must have been the regular cuts then.
I don't think
Okay.
Nymphomaniac was like heavy in the same way that Antichrist is.
Necromantic.
Raven Shadow just thinks you're talking about Antichrist being a
A necro butcher?
no, not a necro butcher.
A sex fiend.
Yes.
well,
you think?
I mean, isn't he?
You think Antichrist
I've
is?
seen Antichrist.
No, I just think those 2 movies, Nymphomaniac 1 and 2, that to watch those in one day, that just blew my mind.
He was like, ugh, heterosexual sex. Gross. I only like it with babies.
Wait, the one that has the fucking Transformer kid, Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah. Shia LaBeouf's in it. Yeah, and Udo Kier and a whole bunch of others. I mean,
Oh yeah, and they all showed their O faces on the posters.
on the posters, yeah. Especially Udo, man. He was really
Udo's
digging
was
it.
Great.
Udo's was my favorite. He was digging it.
Good times.
That's weird.
All right, so tonight we are going to review the film Get Out. It recently hit VOD, and it was this is a bit of a departure for us because we typically don't tackle theatrical releases very often. But this Mars was very adamant about talking about this one, and I'm glad that he was because I think this is an important film to discuss and to get eyes on. Whether or not people like it, I think it's still an important film that needs to be seen. So we're going to be talking about Get Out in just a little bit, and then I don't know, we'll just shoot the shit for a little while, and we got some voicemail to play. I think we'll probably take it kind of low key because we did have a 4.5 hour episode last week. So
Yeah, and I just want to take this time to wish you guys a very happy 250. I wasn't able to send a voicemail, but I'm here on 251. That means I must really love you.
Thank you, Goro.
yeah, you're here for the non-special shows. That
There
means,
you go.
yeah, there you go. Thanks, Goro. We appreciate it, man. And
Hey, no matter what Scott told you, it is a milestone. You guys should be proud of yourselves.
and we keep trying to catch up to you, but man, you don't slow down.
Well, you extend this house buying thing that I'm going through just a little bit longer. We'll see how long I slow down.
Hey, Goro, when it comes to buying a house, always know one thing.
What's that?
The worst that can happen is they accept the offer.
This is true. This is very true. Or I could end up in a murder house.
Ooh. You're a fucking strong guy. You beat the shit out of them.
I don't know. That might be a selling point for me and my lady.
And look for the fine print because they don't check for supernatural possessions.
Well, you see, I would hope they would actually disclose that because not only would it drop off the price, but then I could say I live in a haunted house as well.
Ooh.
As someone who is fairly sure he lived in a haunted house, not that fun.
See, I've been in places that everybody assures me are like the most haunted ever, and I don't feel a thing. I think I'm just dead to the spirit world.
I mean, where I live, you would think it would be haunted considering it's past, but not a thing, man.
What's its past?
Well, it used to be the house I live in used to be a mortuary.
Oh, no shit. It's a weird-looking house. I
Yeah.
always wondered about that.
Yes. The ghosts are probably like, this dude is boring.
Yep, that's exactly what they must be
We're
thinking.
Meanwhile, the people next door who just had a nice house from the 60s are like, where'd these fucking ghosts come from?
Wow.
You should check out the basement, though. The basement's pretty fucking crazy.
In your place?
Yeah.
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 Imagine
it is.
if it was a mortuary. That's where they store the bodies, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would guess, yeah.
Mars, what are you drinking there?
Chug Jug's back. Back again.
Chug, chug, chug,
Jug's
chug.
back. Tell a friend. Yellow 2017 Chug Jugs.
Wow, you got two of them, dude.
In the chat room, we have Creepy Girl. We have Bosch.
Marty
got-
pissed at Creepy Girl.
We got Mark Sheets.
Hey, Sheetsy.
We got Cecil Hands.
Bambaleo.
We got First Time Mike hanging out.
Hey,
FTM.
He says,
some hands.
First Time Mike says, evening family, nothing clever to say tonight. Use all my cleverness last week.
So did we.
Good to see.
Yeah, he dropped some serious knowledge on the most recent tour, talking about the being an anime fan back in the 80s,
Oh, yeah?
which was before my time. Yeah, it was good shit.
I love that dude.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Great guy. Great guy.
And we also have, let's see, Bosch says Udo is big in Turkey.
I bet.
I mean, they are very small.
Yes.
Do you know? I didn't know this until I saw Antichrist actually recently again. That Charlotte Gainsbourg, the crazy girl from all his movies, is Charlotte Gainsbourg, the pop star.
She's a pop star?
She's a singer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have one of her records, and also she has some tracks on the Flostradamus sampler, which had like it was just a weird like free record store day thing, and it ended up having like a lot of like quintessential electronic stuff. It had that Phantomix version of that Goblin song.
The Phantoma?
No. They it was It might be just Phantoms, but it was just an electronic remix of Tenebrae.
Phantoms. I
Neat.
thought it was.
Really?
Oh shit! I'm drawing a blank on the band name now. I thought it was something a different name though.
No, you heard it, Monster Zero. You said, I consider this a disgrace to Goblin.
I don't even remember it. I have to hear it.
All right, maybe you'll hear it someday.
But yeah, I like Charlotte Gainsbourg, singer.
What was it? It was this, what was the song? Tenebrae, you said?
Yeah.
All right, let me look for it and see if we can find it. So, yeah, I can tell there's not much energy going on tonight.
It's like proto dubstep almost.
We're saving our energy for the discussion to come.
Yeah,
It's fucking hot.
it's not so bad right now.
It's dynamite hot.
Yeah,
You're
I fucking hate
sitting
it.
right in front of the fucking AC.
Yeah.
But I'm wearing slacks and a nice cotton
You're
mesh.
wearing slacks.
slacks.
Slacks. Who? Slacks.
Yeah.
Slacks.
What do you call them?
Pants.
Well, you don't wear them. So you don't get to call
How
them
would you know what
anything.
they even called?
Sweat. What do you call them? Sweats.
I wear pants to work.
No.
Jeans.
Dungarees.
I don't call them dungarees.
Dungies.
Shut up.
This is exciting.
What brand? Huskies?
Levi.
There you go.
Oh, we just got a new Raven J drawing.
That's my next tattoo.
All right, I gotta post this one up in a sec here. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it amounts to. Raven J, thank you.
So, anyone have any good stories? Anything crazy happened this week?
The most exciting thing that happened in like 2 weeks to me is that my fish tank filter broke, and I fixed it just in time for Tiny White. And that's a real friend, in case you're wondering. Your fish tank filter breaks, Tiny White drives to the fish store to buy you a new one.
That's a good friend.
Yeah,
good
but I interrupted him because I managed to get to work with my keen mechanical skills.
Friend.
There you go. So, for those watching the live show, we just posted Raven J's drawing of MZ.
Look at my shoes.
Your basketball.
Those are like Wimpy from Popeye shoes I'm wearing.
It's pretty good.
I have a housewarming present for you, but I forgot it, so remind me. Next time.
Did you move in yet? Do you knew?
No, not yet. I haven't
I thought
moved
you
it.
moved.
No,
Are
that
you
ain't
not
happening
gonna?
until June.
Really?
Yeah.
Still have time to pull out.
That's next month.
Yeah, it's in a couple days.
Yeah. Very soon.
Oh, I have more scans. Tumor, exactly the same. Hasn't moved.
Has it
Same
moved?
size, same everything.
That's
yeah.
good, right?
That's
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I actually did it because I feel like, without going too much into it, at the time that I had my surgery, I didn't think that there was going to be no incomes coming in at the same time. So I asked them if we could do some tests to see if it would be okay to put it off. I basically needed another, like a mulligan for, last month so I could save some money and pay some bills. So it looks like I am. It's really up to my crazy doctor, Dr. Bueno, but
Bueno, excelente.
through going through the geez, fucking
Radiation?
MZ shows up in here. I lose all my vocabulary. The
Logbooks.
no, the lady who did the ultrasound gave me all the
the one that you harassed?
No, it's different.
Oh,
That was
okay.
a CAT scan, a 4D CAT scan. I got
Wait,
to
you
fucking
you-
see
you
that.
harassed the CAT scan technician?
I didn't actually harass her.
You call this a
Okay.
CAT scan?
No. I can tell you exactly how our
Sexually
conversation
harassed
went. No.
her.
I was sitting on the table. A Bond girl leaned over to me and said,
Bond girl.
yeah,
Bond
leaned
girl.
over to me and said in some sort of vaguely Eastern European accent, I am going to have to restrain your arms and legs. And I responded, yes, have some.
All right, props for the Ghostbusters reference. Negative props for the sexual harassment. 'Cause that clearly was.
No.
Yeah, she clearly
was
didn't
gonna-
get the reference.
She was going to tie me up.
She's like, say moose and squirrel.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did she
but no.
capture the moose and the squirrel?
But they gave me it was funny, they gave me like this whole reading of all these measurements, and the woman's like, I think you can read this. I said, thank you. And I looked at it once and then handed it to Chris McGivens, who was with me, and said, you read this. So unless he's lying to me, it all stayed the same way. But yeah, it was
You're gonna be okay.
yeah. It's bet you better.
Yes, have some.
But I did get to see the 4D CAT scan picture, and it basically looks like, remember those models they used to advertise for in comic books that like were like the translucent man?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like you could see the outline, almost like the weird like CAT scan looking picture of the bunny on the special edition of Donnie Darko. Like you can see every like layer as they like pull back and go forward. So also the doctor who showed me that is a doctor whose specialty is singers not losing their voice. And when
Nice.
he came in and told me that, I was like, I really feel like I'm out of my depth here.
See, what you should do is ask for a copy of it. Then you just project it behind you when you guys are doing shows.
It could be. He
Yeah.
he like took a small camera and shoved it up my nose and took pictures. Like, I couldn't see it, but was show like you could see my vocal cords.
Huh.
And he explained vocal cords to me, and he was very cool, much more mellow than Dr. Bueno. But he thought ahead of time, before I even had the new ultrasounds and scans, that he said that thing didn't move at all. So
Nice.
I went. He's like, I just don't think it will. He said if it was January, I might be concerned, but he said it's, and sure enough, it looked the same as it did in March, which had looked the same as it did in October. So it does. It is weird. I can see it pushing into my trachea though in the 4D scan. So that's a little weird.
Some
I
bitch is just hanging out there, not
Yeah.
doing anything, not
Right.
paying rent.
Nope, just pushing in, just, like, it hasn't gone that way at all. It hasn't, like, obviously I can breathe, so I didn't need the scan for that one, but...
Subtly threatening you all the time. He's like a scary roommate.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's like Woodland Street all over again.
Hello, Dynamo. How are you?
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah, but that's good news. So I think not that anybody was too concerned, like, creepy girls bawling her eyes out that her favorite Red Delicious wasn't here yet. But, yeah, so I think I'm going to probably... As opposed to have, hey, I'm gonna have to do a trick or treat radio from Los Angeles, I think. But as opposed to leave here, rehabilitate and go on vacation, I think I'm gonna stay here, go on vacation, and not come back. I think that'll be the plan now. So
Permanent vacation.
So you're just going to stay in Los Angeles the entire time?
as long as I can.
Okay.
I actually am not. I'm excited about Long Beach, but I am not excited about being in Los Angeles at all.
What are you going there for?
It's the worst.
Yeah, it's the fucking worst.
I do
don't.
have some assurances that there are some cool places in Los Angeles.
Well, it's the traffic and the oppressive smog.
Yeah.
But there is that.
Yeah,
It's really that bad.
Keep in mind
it's
that
terrible.
one of the people who told us that there are.
Granted, I was there for like 5 days.
Yeah.
But the 5 days is all you really need, I guess.
Yeah, and it was great the whole entire time.
I'm gonna be there 5 days, and I am not excited about it one bit.
What are you going there for?
Huh?
What are you going there for?
I have
Oh, someone jealous?
to. Huh? What am I going there for?
Yeah.
Someone
gotta.
jealous? His partner's going?
No, because he's going to bring the world's dopest tag team to the fucking West Coast swing.
Yeah. With honorary member Coop and
Yeah.
Jakey.
California love.
Yep. the four world dopest tag team.
Yeah.
What?
Does Coop and Jakey know they've been inducted into the world's
No,
dopest
no,
tag
they
team?
don't.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
No.
Everyone knows it.
Everyone knows.
There was
it.
a ceremony, Goro.
It was like the end of Star Wars, except
I
Jake.
mean, we could ask them right
Yeah,
now.
Jake-
You could ask him.
Jake
They're
got the
quite
medal
literal.
that Chewbacca didn't.
Fucking
Blood-
Chewbacca.
Bloodletting.
Yeah, it was good. It was a ceremony. It was wax.
Mm-hmm.
We played the Crow soundtrack. It was very yeah.
Put blankets on TV trays and made forts.
Huh? We reenacted our favorite scenes from Human Centipede.
Oh, yeah. We played the lava game.
What you should be doing is extending the invitation to Roppongi Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sent the email.
Yeah, they didn't call back.
Well, they're going to be in there in person, aren't they?
Don't talk about people who are going to be on those Long Beach shows. It's almost guaranteed that you end up injured.
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, I am going to fulfill a trite as it may be lifelong dream and see New Japan Pro Wrestling live for real, not with like Ring of Honor versus New Japan Pro Wrestling, like real live New Japan Pro
That was
Wrestling.
still a good show.
No, there's no problem with it, but I mean, it didn't feel like New Japan. And to be honest, at the time,
Jakey's okay. For the record, he's okay with you inducting him.
yeah, I know he
Yeah,
is.
but Jakey is going through a Rudo phase. So you never know if he's going to turn on you at any moment.
Jakey doesn't like me right now.
There is a condition, however, that he will only join the team if Raven, Shadow, and Mars leave first.
Hey.
That doesn't make it the thing.
Yeah, that's he's a bad man.
Yeah.
And Coop says only if he gives me up dog.
I don't know what that means, but Raven Shadow's on it.
That's Montezero's department.
Right. That's why he's so tired.
Yeah.
Oh man,
It's exciting.
This is exciting. But yeah, I'm gonna go see New Japan, and probably it's gonna fall into the ocean. I won't be able to get to see the show.
Oh, California Bay.
Yeah.
there's the chances of me going are dwindling by the day, but there's a chance I might go as well. Raven Shadow, you more jealous now?
Didn't fucking ask anybody. I got a lot more free time.
Are you gonna go to Los Angeles? There's still time.
Well, I mean, when you go?
I have tickets. If I don't use them, you can go.
You got plane tickets?
No.
When you go?
For the show? It's July 1st and 2nd, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, July 1st and 2nd.
But what I learned about Long Beach, and I don't know if it's like the same way in the opposite direction, or what I learned about Los Angeles, I'm actually flying into LAX, is that
With Conan.
is that you like Coop said it originally, and I thought it was a fucking joke. But like, if you want it to be affordable at all, it's actually cheaper to like to go down there and stay for a couple days than it is to like fly out. Like if I were to fly in like Friday night or like Saturday afternoon before the show or whatever. So
Well, don't take United, man.
Yeah. Don't take United.
I'm not.
Because fuck United.
Yeah. Take JetBlue. JetBlue's pretty good.
Plus, I did run into a thing. I saved money.
How many
for
times
this.
have you flown, MZ?
Twice.
Okay. World traveler over here.
That's right.
Yeah, you went to Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hung out in a playground and by some rocks.
That's right.
That was weird. You hung out in places that only pedophiles and serial killers hang out.
Well, I didn't see you there.
I'm not a serial killer.
We're going back about 20 minutes here, but first time Mike says, and El Goro, make sure the house isn't built on sacred land.
You see, again, that would be a selling point for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like the idea of me living on a holy site just
Wow.
because I don't know, it makes me feel all good inside.
I have a new film idea right now.
Whoa,
What's
let's
that?
hear it.
So normally when you're built on a Indian
Burial ground.
right? Like it's like kind of like Poltergeist, like the in the derivative films or whatnot of it. I want to make one that the Native American ghost that is on the site are like corporeal like real fuck you up like a car crash Native American. So you go into your bathroom and all of a sudden like you get like fucking hit with a bone tomahawk.
They fuck up your blankets.
Will you stop?
Oh, my
No,
God.
that was a bad thing that was done. Manifest Destiny was bad.
Yeah, man.
But you can hit them with a bone tomahawk, but you can't take their blankets. Honey, where'd the deli meat go?
Yeah, they're also going to take. Yeah, they're going to take your costume jewelry too, right? Is that it? Jesus Christ!
They bought the living room.
This is bad for the Get Out episode.
It is really bad.
Episode
it is pretty
251.
bad.
We're
You know-
gonna have the energy coming. Come on, Monty.
You know what? I'm part Native American, and I find this highly funny.
He's
Yeah,
like-
you're very
he's like-
small.
I'm talking
Point-
about Native American.
0.55.
He's
No,
like,
I am.
Wait, he's like
So am I.
zero.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
He's like
Iroquois.
0,0000%.
His great grandfather saw an Indian once.
Hey, honey, have you been in the garage? No. I think the ghost opened a casino. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But it's a big.
My people will put a curse on all of you.
I'm so sorry.
But no, because the white people are bad and they're getting their revenge due.
You know, you're not helping
do.
our cause
Listen,
at all.
which
You
one
know,
of us, listen,
just keep your mouth shut over there.
go back to fucking bed, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Just shut up,
I wish an Indian would come here and hit you with a bone tomahawk.
sitting brain.
All right, fucking sleep till noon.
I love how this
Here you were,
dude,
Johnny, thinking that this was going to be a low-key
Yeah.
episode.
this dude wakes up earlier than anyone I know, and you call him wakes up at noon. That's the insult you decide to use.
Well, we're trying to do a theme.
On my days off, if we were playing that game from The Price is Right, he would wake up at noon closer to me, because I usually wake up around 2:30.
So you're up early this morning.
Yeah, it fucking sucked.
Yeah, why is that?
What time you were up?
I was up earlier than I started to reply, actually, because I watched Zombie.
Yeah, I saw that. That was nice. Good job, dude.
Good job.
Zombie's a fucking awesome movie because it does all the shit that all movies that copied, like, Dawn of the Dead do, but it literally does them in the last 15 minutes. Like, oh, you got a friend that gets bit by a zombie and you have to, like, nurse him till he turns into a zombie. End of the movie. Oh, you get bit because someone you love is a zombie and standing there and it distracts you. End of the movie. Stuck in a house with a strange band of survivors. End of the movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, I still say it's the best zombie movie ever made.
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't either, but it's really
certainly
good.
is,
I do.
is in my list.
Might be number 3.
It's my favorite.
Might be number 3, but
I think it might actually be my number 2, if I was honest with myself.
I like Dawn of the Dead and Return of the Living Dead are like top 10 for me.
Okay,
films at all.
It got pushed to my number 3 because Day of the Dead, Return of the Living Dead, and then maybe Zombie.
Return is fantastic.
Return is awesome.
Yeah, I love Return. I might be.
You can never make another movie like Return again. It was just made at a certain point in time that just
with a
worked.
weird grouping of talent and a complete fucking
and it completely worked.
And a maniac at the helm. I may be having a discussion about Return of the Living Dead on a episode of Punch Farm that drops on Monday, I believe, and we will be taping this weekend.
Nice.
Or we might be talking about Running Man. I can't remember what we decided on. I'm going to have to go back and look. But I have watched all but 2 of the Return of the Living Deads in the last few days. So I have to watch Rave to the Grave.
No, you don't.
And I have to watch Return of the Living Dead 2.
Oh, so you've seen Necropolis.
Yep.
Oof.
You know what? Necropolis was fucking terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But it had zombies with Gatling guns and a couple of scenes where zombies are full out having fucking fist fights.
No, that's an interesting little twist, but it doesn't make the movie any better, Yeah. And all the shit you have to go through just to get to those points are pretty brutal.
And I enjoyed Return of the Living Dead 3 much more than I remembered enjoying it too. So.
Oh, that one's great, man.
Yeah. Well, I think Usna sometimes does Stuart Gordon better than Stuart Gordon in the sense where the way he shoots some really elaborate practical effects.
Well, yeah, I mean, I always felt that the practical side and the gooier side of Gordon was a reflection of Yuzna's influence. Because, I mean, if you look where Gordon went when he kind of separated from them, he didn't always rely upon that sort of thing. But that always felt like it was in Yuzna's wheelhouse.
I agree.
I mean, if you want to look at Gordon, look at Stuck,
right.
which was a huge departure for him. But it's a film that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
It's on Shudder right now.
It's a shame, too, because it's a well-made movie based on a true story, and I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed
Mina
King of
Savaru
Ants.
was pretty good.
King of Ants, that stuff's good.
Sure.
Plus it has
Never seen that.
Plus it has Kari Ward getting hump as like it's a fucking porno. I can't watch that when anyone else is around.
Okay, so here's a question for you. If you could choose one kind of forgotten Yuzna or Stuart Gordon film, one that's not currently in print, and it got the full-on either Arrow Video or Scream Factory release, which one would you choose?
Wow.
Because they did a run of really great flicks.
Probably Dagon.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like Dagon.
I'd probably go with Dagon.
I think Dagon might be in Blu-ray print, but I think just because I would like to see the history of the production, and if they go into its comic that it was based on and whatever, I think I would say Faust.
Yeah, that's a weird one too.
Yeah, because I love that comic, and it's just a very strange. I don't know what they kept and what they left on the floor as far as the comic goes, and what they tried to do and everything else. Like I just would be very interested to hear. I'd like and if we're picking our spots, I'd like to hear like a director's producer's commentary, but I'd also like to hear Tim Vigil commentary.
He'd probably be swearing the entire fucking time. Like, what the fuck are they doing?
I used to have on my wall in a part of the house that no one went into but me. a picture of Brink Stevens as Claire from Faust. They on a magazine called Femme Fatales that I may or may not have used to subscribe to. They recreated the cover of one of the Faust issues.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
See, and I'll always hold that movie in some regard, not necessarily for the film, but for the soundtrack. Because when it was released, I was in high school, and they did a collaboration with Roadrunner, and the soundtrack essentially was just a greatest hits of bands that were signed with Roadrunner. And this was the time when I was getting deep into heavier metal, so that was kind of my guide into holy shit. Here's just a big drop of bands all at once.
Yeah, that was a very.
Not that Roadrunner.
Believe it or not, I'll see if Wolfie remembers this, and I don't remember how it came about. I know that a Deadites demo ended up on the desk of somebody at Roadrunner at one point.
Nice.
No, I don't remember that. That's weird.
You were involved. I remember enough to know that somebody that you knew was involved in facilitating it.
Maybe I forgot that. I don't know.
Oh, I remember who it was.
Can you say?
Sort of managed us for a little while.
Sort of. Oh.
Yeah.
My cousin?
Had an awesome jacket.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe wasn't true, but
he typically didn't. He did some crazy things, but he typically didn't lie.
Yeah, he
about
didn't
stuff.
lie.
Yeah.
I mean, he may have known that person. That person may have disliked him.
Right. Exactly.
But,
Exactly. It might have got sent, but it may not have got listened to.
Right.
By the way, I think I found that Goblin remix.
What is the name
by
of the band?
Justice.
You're right. You are. Oh, I've already shit my pants when you stopped.
Oh man, don't shoot your pants. All right, so I'm gonna lower the volume a little bit so YouTube doesn't get mad. But this is Justice versus Goblin.
Yeah.
And I think this is. Yeah, not that Justice.
Speaking of weird remixes, have you guys ever heard of the group Orgasmo Sonore?
No.
They did an album where it was them doing their own versions of movie themes, but they're kind of like an electronic 70s band. So there's a lot of analog mixed with some digital. And they did some interesting cuts. I mean, they were doing stuff that you would kind of expect, like the theme from Escape from New York. But then they would throw on the theme for like Zombie 2 or Alien Contamination. They were going for a little bit off the beaten path.
So far I haven't heard anything different about this.
I haven't either.
I don't think it's it.
Because this is definitely
this isn't
not
it.
Yeah. It says it is, but here's a sample of it, maybe?
Yeah, this is it.
That's it. Okay.
Okay.
MC's pissed. Is this the one, Mars?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was on my old Get Ready to Do Pro Wrestling mix.
Get ready to do pro wrestling?
Yeah.
What would you do to these guys, MZ? If you saw them.
Here, Wolfie, I'm going to send you a link.
All right. Where are you sending it?
I'll send it via the Book of Faces.
Okay.
Oh boy, that was rough.
Whatever.
I don't like it.
Yeah, no, right. Your favorite band has a line. I suppose a funk is out of the question. You have no musical fucking say.
All right. Here's
I saw them in concert.
This is the thing that Goro just sent me from Orgasmo Sonore. Is that how you say it? Sonore?
Yep, that's how I say it.
Okay.
This is what their version of Goblin sounds like.
This is Alien Contamination.
This is Alien Contamination.
This is pretty fucking cool.
All right.
Isn't it?
All right.
Yeah. Check them out. They're pretty good. And they finally have a goddamn Bandcamp. Before they were really putting this out on vinyl.
Ah.
Now, see, that to me, this is more tolerable than listening to that Tenebrae garbage.
Yeah.
The Royal
You're
Tenebrae.
fucking getting ready for wrestling music.
My entrance theme music was so fucking wimpy that it almost dialed me back. Look up, Goro, if you ever have the chance, look up It All Comes Out in a Wash by Self.
Just
So
want to check that out.
It all comes out in the wash.
yeah.
Must be talking about your track stains in your underwear.
You slept your way into hilarity.
Hey,
Johnny, have you done the introductions yet?
at least I got
No. What introductions?
It's the beginning of a new era. Fuck the introductions.
Yeah.
Hey.
Here, let me play a little bit. Since you just mentioned it, Mars, I'll play a little bit of Self.
I'm not out yet. Me and Oracle are still behind the curtain.
I never saw you come out to this. I still think this is a weird one for you, but that's just because I know your old ones, I guess. You still behind? You still behind the curtain?
No, I'm out now.
Oh, you're out now. What are you doing? Explain to the folks.
Like kind of strutting out, talking
Slow?
crap. Oracle's in the front.
What would you say to the crowd?
I don't remember. I would be befuddled at the fact that like the most like unfucking like friendly person that we know like is like and would be so like say like you don't need me to come out. You don't need me to come out. And like I turn around, Tiny White would be fucking Ricky Morton. He'd still be in the back shaking everybody's hand, giving high fives.
So what made you decide on this track?
I don't know. Well, first of all, the first time around when I decided on it, it was a new record, and everyone came out to either Pantera or Rob Zombie, to the point that I remember one of the few times I wrestled, having to ask the ref who I was wrestling because I forgot because I couldn't differentiate anybody's theme song.
That and Undertaker was already using Limp Bizkit, so he had to go with this runner-up.
Yeah. No. So no, I really. I mean, I love Self. He's Matt McCaffrey is one of my favorites, but it was kind of. I was at the time a cocky heel, but when I used it the most, I was like a kind of a character babyface. I was the redneck kabuki. So I probably should have picked something like more appropriate. I was going to when I found out I would never wrestle again. When I was working on it, I had the best entrance theme music I never used, which was me and the Beastnik put together a kind of a mashup of Midnight Rider by the Allman Brothers with the music of 99 Problems by Jay-Z.
Nice.
So, because for some reason Dynamo always had like a cowboy slant, and during that period I was basically doing, my favorites of the Great Kabuki and the Great Mudas makeup, and I wore like the karate pants and the gi and everything else, and I'd spit beer like Muda when I got to the ring, which everybody was really excited about.
It has been said that you are the immortal gunslinger.
It's true.
Yeah, maybe I should do that right now. I'll introduce everyone. I am Johnny Wolfenstein, the pencil pusher and producer of media for Trick or Treat Radio, the Deadites, and the Grand Guignol Network. We do have the immortal gunslinger, a singer and lyricist for the Deadites, Donovan Mars.
If you ask Tiny, he has at least one or two of my wrestling matches, and at least a promo that I did while Captain Lou Albano was our manager.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, we have that somewhere in the studio. Yeah. We also have the vulgar guru of horror, star of Blood Pigs and Fetus, one-time contributor for Whorehound magazine, Lips McGinty.
Yeah.
I mean, Mount Zero.
Yes, and I'm all about that bass. About that bass. About that bass.
We also have the chain smoking, hand kissing, baby shaking, lorazepam loving, comic book reading nerd, and the official smoke chamber for Castle Wolfenstein, and the Prince of Promotions, Michael Ravenshadow.
That's right, Johnny. Never forget, I'm a Jedi in the streets, but a Sith in the sheets.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Let me ask you a question that has nothing to do with that stupid-ass intro
You've never heard that, Mars?
No.
A Sith in the sheets.
Oh
Shut the
God.
hell up.
You are a creative.
Thank
genius.
you.
He's not
inspired
creative.
me.
He didn't make it up.
Yeah, I did.
I've been hearing. No, you did not.
He made it. I bet you he made it up, and everyone made
No.
fucking memes
there's
after.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't hear one of
Why
me.
don't you two just sword fight each other during the break,
Why
okay?
don't you fucking get the sand out of your cock hole?
Yeah, why don't you go take a nap, Grandpa? Have some fucking...
Hey, let me ask you something.
You just did.
The New Hope, okay? Does she smoke?
Used to.
Used to. Okay, so her kissing you
great.
must be like licking an ashtray, right?
Yeah, well, I guess,
All right.
it's fun.
Oh, for Christ's sake, what are we looking at? What is this?
Oh, look at this. Oh, it looks like there's a meme already there, Raven
I never
Shadow.
saw that before.
Wow, we have a lot of fucking listeners.
Oh my
They're
god,
fast.
that's on the Trick or
Look
Treat
at all
Radio
the
Shop
shit.
Zone. I never saw that before.
Yeah, you have.
When am I online buying T-shirts? I can't buy dough for Dynamo. You know why? It's online.
There's like 7 different versions of it.
I've never seen that before. I saw a
Jedi in the streets, Sith in the sheets. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's
I never saw it.
Everywhere. I never saw it.
Look, there's like...
No, well, I never saw it. Well, you know what? Now, thank you, Johnny. That's a good time. You
Look
know
at
what?
that. They also got people posed in the shirts already.
I
too.
never saw that before.
I bet you this is on biginthepants.com.
You
They
are
put it
so
up in-
full of shit.
You are. You just fucking...
No, I didn't. I didn't
you
know
just
that.
steal shit.
No,
he
I didn't.
doesn't.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
I rent with the option to buy. No, I know. I saw it from
I've clicked on about 40 different
Well-
T-shirts of it now.
Well, I don't click. I heard it on. There was a girl dressed up as Princess Leia in the slave outfit, and she would walk up and like just kiss girls in the streets. That's where I heard it.
I saw that. That was hot.
Thank you. See,
Oh,
am I making
so
that
you-
up, asshole?
So you didn't make it up. You stole it from someone.
I'm quoting. You know what? Thank you, Johnny. Good segue. Speaking about far off lands.
Now that's an awesome shirt. That's the best one yet.
Well, I'll go fuck myself. No, it's a faraway land is Ohio.
Yes, it is far
Do
away.
you have flashbacks about Ohio?
Thank you, Dynamo.
Yeah, there
Thank
you go.
my boo. You think you know about Ohio? It's typical, unexciting, and uneventful. From important
Oh,
inventions,
shit.
I'm not writing. This is the internet's words. In American history, to straight up strange laws. Ohio will keep you on your toes. And just when you thought you had the state figured out, you'll be up for another surprise. Goro, do you know this?
Go ahead.
You know this? It's a river on fire. That's right.
Yes.
Everybody knows that.
I'm aware.
It's the
Raven Shadow
Cuyahoga.
just made it up, and,
I'm reading it.
and
Well,
our
but-
listeners just set it on fire.
Look,
Hey,
everyone
Trumpet
knows about-
Shadow.
Listen, hey.
Hey, fucking nocturnal emissions. Why don't you fucking...
You stole that too.
What the fuck?
My
Used to be a
God,
ra-
you
used to
are
be a
a-
radio show.
You
called
are
that.
a plagiarist, left
Yeah.
and right.
Well, I know. Well, fucking, why don't you go fuck yourself, okay? Thank you. You fucking...
Plagiarist, man.
plagiarist, man.
Plagiarist, man. All right, yeah. Fucking
That's
with the fucking
it. It's your
noodles.
superhero.
It is. There's a fucking...
Plagiarist, man.
company in a basket.
Yeah.
Longaberger Company takes the cake when it comes to being unique. Longaberger Company, a manufacturer of wood baskets and lifestyle products. There you go. You're such a big fucking talent there with your fucking Oshkosh Bagosh sweatshirt, t-shirt on that your nana bought you, and your fucking narcolepsy and you're sleeping.
What the fuck?
No. He comes here late. Fucking rude. I don't think
Very
we need
rude.
that. I
I
don't think we
seem to
need
remember
that.
you showing up late back in the day often.
Yeah.
Because I was working. I wasn't
You're
sleeping.
only not late because we start late.
Well, by point of view.
And by the way, no matter what they say in the chat room, I was totally for that.
I know.
Totally for what?
Thank you.
Starting late to accommodate Raven Shadow.
Holy shit, Joe DeCanio's hanging out.
Yeah, thank you, Joe.
Wow, blast from the past.
What's up, Joe?
He must really be bored.
You can walk from his house to here. And he's late.
Oh, by the look of him, he's never walked anywhere. So
Yeah. He can roll from his house.
All right, give us some more
even the
flashbacks.
small
No, you're not going to get it.
like
He's
small
fucking-
berries.
Monster ruined it.
Yo, you're
one more.
you're depriving our guest.
Give us one more.
All right.
What do you got?
Electro the Robot.
Throw the robot, yes.
I'm sure you guys must have seen the movie Real Steel. Remember the robot, Adam with Zeus? Yes, Electro is somewhat like them, only a little old school. Electro was originally built by Westinghouse Electric Corporation in the 1930s and could move, speak, and smoke cigarettes. Yeah. He ended up as an attraction in the World's Fair and is now owned by the Mansfield Memorial Museum in Mansfield, Ohio.
There you go. That
You know
is
that?
indeed a true flash fact about Ohio.
Oh, the infamous wall of gum. Yes, it's weirder than you can anticipate. The real reason behind people flocking to the Made Right sandwich shop in
Right.
Greenville is not to be found inside on the shop menu, but outside the walls. It's a gooey display of gum.
Is that real?
Goro, tell him.
I have no idea what you're talking
Fucking
about.
Ohio.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have that in Boston too. It's called vandalism.
No.
Ohio.
It's fucking, listen.
All right, we have more important things to get to,
I think we do.
and that's catching up with the chat room.
The Superman statue, or Superman state.
Fuck yeah, Siegel and Schuster from Cleveland. Not Siegel and Schuster. No, what are they from?
Them
What's their
too.
names?
What's their names, Raven Shadow?
Jerry Siegel and Joe Schuster.
Oh, it is Siegel and Schuster. Haha, got it right.
Yeah, I know stuff.
They're from Cleveland.
All right, in the chat room, this is about a half hour ago. First time Mike said, thanks, you guys are great. This is in reference to him calling into El Goro's show. It says, thanks, you guys are great people to share ideas with, even Raven Shadow, who's my dude.
Thank you. Who's that?
First time Mike.
FTM, big ups.
And Corny says, I'm here too, Wolfie. What's up, Corny?
Sexy, corny
Hey,
boys.
cornball.
Bosch liked the clock wipe that I use.
Wow.
For in between, when I cut between things on the live show.
Mhm.
And first time Mike says, I don't have a halo because I'm watching Salo. I'm MZ, the morded man. Dear God, no. And Corny wants to know if MZ is showing those guns off for Creepy Girl.
What, these pale things?
Yes.
I must be.
And Corny also says, I'm part Native American and was going to be nice to Raven Shadow tonight, but oh no.
Raven Shadow's part Native American as well,
Yeah.
Cornelius.
Yeah, he claims.
What motherfucker?
No, he is.
Which one of us looks more fucking Native American than the
Yeah.
other?
Well, to be
Johnny.
fair, Raven Shadow does.
Thank you.
No, he looks Italian.
No, he looks Native American. He could have been in the Searchers.
Native American, Italian.
He could have been.
Yeah.
Well,
all
look,
the Native
Iron Eyes
Americans
Cody.
and the Searchers were Italian.
Look,
Yeah.
Iron Eyes Cody was
Yeah.
Italian, and he played an Indian. So
Yeah.
I guess you get a pass on
Yeah,
that.
call me Longbow fucking Ayatollah.
Right.
But I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this though: the American Indian got a better grasp of the English language than you ever will.
Wow, what is,
Maybe you.
that's racist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Offense.
I-
totally racist. Whatever. Your Native American name looks like Bell's palsy.
Balls palsy.
I'm gonna give you a fucking blanket.
Bosch says a zombie versus a shark is hard to beat. Number one for me.
There
Yeah,
you
it
go.
is.
Reference to zombie. First time Mike says zombies in my top 5. It is one of the most doom-laden zombie films out there.
There you go.
Raven J says Return of the Living Dead 4 and 5 rock.
Wow.
Raven J, you on fucking Stitcher yet? I guess
Agent Nicole's hanging out. She says evening everyone.
I love Agent
Hey,
Nicole.
Agent Nicole.
And Bosch says I also dig Cemetery Man a lot, but that's more comedy.
I always fucking forget about Cemetery Man when I'm having
That's
this
one of my
conversation.
faves.
I don't
ever.
think it.
Cemetery Man is fantastic.
Yeah,
I don't think it-
I think the reason I always forget Cemetery Man is because it is kind of just this offbeat supernatural thing. Zombies are in it, but they're not the point
Yeah.
of it. You know what I mean?
I agree. It's not. It's first and foremost. It's not a zombie film, even though it's a big part of it. It
Yeah.
just that to me kind of takes a backseat to a lot of the other stuff that happens.
Well, I think also because it, if we do reference it as a zombie film, which I do, it's the last great Italian,
Yes.
of the Italian zombie films. So I can understand why it can be forgotten from point to point.
Bosch says Raven Shadow dancing is like circa 70s Son of Sam when the blackout happened. Were you dancing during the
Was
song?
What was it like the?
You
Blackout,
must.
what?
It was like circa 70s Son of Sam when the blackout happened.
That's fair. I don't dance good. I was just feeling.
Stay away from Ozzy, man. He's going to tell you to kill folks.
My God.
Joe DeCanio says, just got here. 45 minutes into the show. We're doing intros just in time.
Yes.
We've been good. We've been better, Joe. This is a off. This is a retro.
And Joe also says, I love that Johnny's watching baseball while doing the show. The commitment is real.
I know. I'm looking at it too. I've been watching it
How does Joe know?
playing?
because
He's watching
It's,
right
it's,
here.
it's, if you take a look, you'll
Yeah,
see.
but how does Joe know?
It's on the fucking camera.
We broadcast live on YouTube.
Oh, you can see it there.
Yeah.
We'll probably get in trouble with that. That's not written consent for Major League Baseball.
Yeah, he's got a point.
And Joe also says, does it get creepier than Monster Zero singing Megan Trainor in a tank top?
No,
That's kind
But
of
he is-
up.
but Monster Zero does have bigger cleavage than Megan Trainor.
I don't know what her cleavage is like, but I'm sure you're right. And lastly, Agent Nicole says, Mars, you can't leave food at the studio. I almost ate the popcorn.
I
last
left
night.
it for you, kid. I left it for you. I leave you presents all the time, and you don't even see them.
All right, we need to wrap this up because I want to talk about Get Out. So,
I want to get out.
Raven Shadow.
Yes.
Not yet, actually. Well, I want to talk about some ways that people can support the show. And Jakey's sending us photos of Asian women. Look at this.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks, Jakey.
Piques my interest.
So if you guys want to help support the show, you can go to trickortreatradio.com, and then on there you're going to see links for Amazon. Go ahead and click on that. Everything you purchase in that session gets attributed to us. We get a tiny little cut. It doesn't cost them any extra, Raven Shadow.
But it helps keep the lights on.
That's right. We need some help keeping the lights on. If you guys also want to sign up for Horror Pack, you can go ahead and
Horror Pack.
I was waiting. You can sign up for Horror Pack right through our link that we have on the front page of trickortreatradio.com. Get 4 DVDs or Blu-rays delivered right to your door every month. We also have our friends over at XSplit. And they provide the live streaming service you see here every Wednesday night when we do the live show. And also, if you guys have not yet, you should get your copy of Dough for Dynamo.
Yeah, that Joe DeCanio?
Dope.
That's doughfordynamo.bandcamp.com.
Help keep the lights on.
There's also a link to that on the front of trickortreatradio.com under the featured release. Just go ahead and click on that, and for a minimum of $7, you can get 19 amazing tracks.
May I, Michael Raven Shadow?
You may.
Oh, my Lord. New tracks from the Deadites. New tracks from the Evil Streaks. Transdusk. Nightmare. Some
You're going to forget.
rare stuff from some other bands. Live Genki Panic. There's so much good stuff on there.
Fucking Noman.
Noman.
Noman?
Yeah, Noman.
Nomenclature?
Noman Reedus.
Noman Leah.
Norman Leah.
Yeah, yeah. There's an awesome No Man song on there. Yeah, it's great. It's got a variety of different music. Craig, that's one of my favorite tracks on there. Cool electronic instrumental. There's a lot of good stuff on there, but nothing beats track 5, which is an ode to yours truly. So check that out.
All right. So everyone go check it out. If you have not bought Dough for Dynamo, do so. Like I said, for a minimum of $7. You can give more if you'd like. And we would recommend that you do. And all the proceeds go to help Dynamo pay for his growing medical bills.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. So help a brother out if you got some spare cash. And you'll get some fucking great tracks to listen to.
Last Wednesday, I'm not sure if I talked about it, we got $2,200 worth of scan bills and for CAT scans and stuff like that between the dose of us. There's fucking what do you even do?
Brutal.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Raven Shadow, you sit down to watch the film Get Out.
Yes.
What do you do to prepare for this?
Turn the fans on, Johnny. It's getting hot in New England.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm
Put
with it.
the dehumidifier out. I don't want the.
You don't want humid?
I don't want too humid in the
No.
basement. I don't like that. I don't
Okay.
like that. And I got my dog Oliver because he's excited.
You're a white dog.
He's very excited.
Yeah, he's a wonder dog. Listen, he's more opaque.
No, he's white.
He's cream shell, okay? And he gets excited because this movie has a little dog in it. He likes the movies with dogs, except for the beginning of John Wick.
Nope.
He doesn't like that part. It's a bad part.
That dog's a charisma black hole, though.
We get all comfortable. We get ready for a comedy because we love comedies. No, very important film with some subtext. I'm sure we'll hear about. Then I strap on.
All right.
Do you love a scary story? Do you love to dance? The Big Scary Monster Hunts at Midnight is a collection of dark songs about sex, love, death, revenge, and the end of the world. Brought to you by the world's greatest monster hunting electroshock band, the Deadites. Available on iTunes, Google Music, Amazon, CD Baby, and all other digital distribution sites.
Hey, you matzo heads. This is Larry Fine, and you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
What's up, y'all? It's me, the Yeti. Telling all the ladies that they couldn't be more fine and that we should knock those boots like Frankenstein. When I want to get my nerd on, I go to Facebook and I go to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. That's the place where I get to talk about all the hip new horror movies, all the cool comics.
What comics?
RPGs, video games, you name it, we're talking about shit on there. And you could not be any cooler if you were the coolest kid in school. Be the first kid on your block to swing their cock over at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search for Trick or Treat Radio, ask to join, and it's like Nerd Nirvana, baby, without the shotgun blast. This is the Yeti, signing out. See you at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group.
Follow us on Twitter at The Deadites, thedeadites.com, and trickortreatradio.com.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rick.
And we're your hosts of the Radio Violenta podcast. Join us as we drink and stumble our way through Italian occult cinema.
Follow us on Facebook.
And subscribe to us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio.
We return on Trick or Treat Radio.
Listen to that funky theremin. That's the heart of the band right there.
All right, Raven Shadow's still smoking, but fuck him. We're going to go on. We're going to talk about
He's smoking butts.
The film Get Out.
You should try hypnosis on him.
Have some tea.
Too soon.
Well, we should probably set ground rules of how spoilery we're going to get into this conversation.
You know what? Yeah, I agree. And I don't want to spoil everything, but I do want to talk about, I want to dig a little bit deeper into some of the messages here. And I think that we can do that without getting too spoilery, without giving away the ending, let's say. But, but this film has been out for several months, at least theatrically, and it just hit VOD a couple weeks, actually a few days ago.
Yep.
It's still out theatrically.
Yeah, it is, actually.
As of a week ago.
That's the crazy thing. I mean, it came out in February, and it is still playing on one screen at one showing at my theater.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was. I just went to the theater this weekend. It hit VOD, and it's still same thing. I think one showing a day.
Yeah.
Should have gone and saw that instead of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Lancelots.
Why?
Oh, fuck you. I'm seeing that tomorrow.
Why?
Because this was...
You see almost every single fucking movie in the theater, and you're talking shit about me going to see a movie?
I don't go see every single movie in the theater.
I do.
You see a lot.
I have a $5 theater across the street from where I work.
I'm just making a point. You see a lot.
Yeah. I don't see everything that they offer up a trailer for, though.
Well, nor do I.
We got to think that Jason Blum is very happy right now.
Yes.
Yeah, this has to
Out.
be... This. I mean, I don't know. They've had some pretty big successes, but this has to at least, like...
Well, yeah,
I mean, on a budget of $4.5 million, and currently its box office take is $214 million.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's pretty happy.
Which movie is this?
Get Out.
Oh.
The
Okay.
film we're talking about. So the domestic total was basically just under $175 million.
Wow.
And if you do factor in, like Goro said, it's just under $215 million worldwide. And for a film that costs less than $5 million, this is... I don't remember the what Blair Witch did, the original Blair Witch, but that was made for like under $1 million or something and did big box office. This is a fucking huge hit.
Yeah, that was like $650,000 and it took in over like $250 million.
Yeah, so it was a little bit more successful, but this is almost this is one of the biggest successes in a long time.
From a guy that I had no idea he had any directing chops. I mean, I've been following Jordan Peele ever since from his Mad TV days, from the I believe it was the late 90s or early 2000s, and he's an entertaining guy when he's with Keegan-Michael Key. Really entertaining guy, and I just never thought he had the chops to be a director. When I heard that this was directed by Jordan Peele, I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Doesn't he have that skit show that's all him though?
Well, Key and Peele, yeah.
Key and Peele, yeah.
And that was about my only sense of what he was going to be bringing to the table, at least from a director's standpoint. Because one thing that was nice about Key and Peele on some of their sketches is that there was a fair bit of visual style that was played out, particularly when they would do some sort of stylistic parodies, like whenever they would do a crime story or anything.
Yep.
But really, it was just seeing the strength of the visuals of the trailer. And the trailer just kind of seemed to come from nowhere, right? I mean, did you guys have any idea about this movie before the trailer dropped?
No, not at all.
None.
I didn't even see the trailer.
Usually a budget of less than $5 million, you're not really going to see a trailer get that much
well, even just an announcement, of Jordan Peele set to direct a horror movie.
Yeah.
But I never saw that. I remember.
I didn't even hear that until the trailer came.
No, I remember that. I do remember that. But I never saw.
Or didn't matter to me, I should say. So, I feel like it wouldn't have even registered.
I just never really gave it much thought. I thought it was interesting because I knew of, Peele's earlier work, but it just never, you cross that threshold of being a stand-up comic into directing a horror film or directing anything for that matter.
So,
and it just comes off as sort of bizarre, but I never really gave it much thought. Then I saw the trailer, and I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, that's right. Oh, look at this.
Because most artists only have one skill, it's important to remember. So they can only do one thing.
Unless you're Danny Glover.
Yeah. Most artists.
In which case, that guy could just do whatever the fuck he wants.
Exactly.
He's getting too old for this shit.
No, it's not him.
Wrong Danny Glover.
I'm going to commit to
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, well, I think Goro made a mistake.
I made a mistake. I'll own that.
Thank you, Goro.
I was just about to cover for him too.
Yeah.
Donald Glover, it could be shortened, could be Donnie.
It probably is.
Could be.
Yep.
And he said Donnie and not Danny.
But he's definitely the anomaly. Yeah.
All right. Well, fuck it. I ain't covering for you.
My failures.
I ain't covering for you.
I own them.
All right.
They are many.
So I remember when the trailer dropped. Like Goro said, it just kind of came out of nowhere, this trailer, and it looked fucking great. Like, I remember posting on the Trick or Treat Radio group, and a lot of people were like, holy shit, this looks amazing. And there was a lot of discussion around it, and it looked like an important film, like, at least with what they were going for. So this one hit, and it did well. I don't think I have opening weekend. Let me see if I can find that, because I'm curious to see. Yeah, so opening weekend, it actually did well. It did $33 million in opening weekend.
Wow, that alone that should make them happy.
Yeah, and that's not, certainly that's not superhero movie type of money, but that's fucking great.
But they didn't spend superhero type of money.
Exactly,
right.
Exactly. But for a horror movie in this day and age, like that's a great opening right there. So, and it kept up next week. It did 28 mil, then 28, and then 13. It stayed pretty high for a while. So it's amazing that this movie caught on and was able to do so well. And from what I recall, I don't have TV, so I don't know if there was a lot of TV spots. Did you guys remember seeing a lot of buzz about this on TV?
I don't remember seeing anything.
I don't watch TV really.
Okay, yeah.
I don't have a television.
Okay,
I got a television, but I don't recall seeing much of anything as far as advertisements on this.
Okay.
More online.
I don't know. I was just glad that we finally got a good horror flick in 2017 in the theaters, because prior to this, what did we have? We had the Bye Bye Man, we had Rings, but then we finally got this.
Yeah.
So let me run down the information that we have here. So Get Out from 2017. It is 1 hour 44 minutes, rated R. It's a horror film, and it is written and directed by Jordan Peele, and it stars Daniel Kaluuya, Allison Williams, Catherine Keener, Bradley Whitford, Caleb Landry Jones, Marcus.
I think it's
Caleb Landry Jones.
See, now I get to correct you.
You're fucking smart, Goro.
What do I know him from?
I know he does look familiar.
He was Banshee in X-Men First Class.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he's a super creepy pale motherfucker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for this.
I'm pretty sure that's actually on his resume.
Creepy pale motherfucker.
Yeah, when they're casting in Hollywood, it's like, bring me that creepy pale motherfucker. You know, it's a good mode to be in, man.
And also Marcus Henderson, Betty Gabriel, and Stephen Root. So the synopsis on IMDb is very simple. A young African-American man visits his Caucasian girlfriend's mysterious family estate.
I don't. It's actually a shitty, like, kind of a hand-tipping synopsis, IMDb.
What's up?
Like, I feel like, maybe the trailer already messed it up, but I feel like by first appearance, their house isn't very... Their house looks very mundane. They're living...
They just referred to it as a family estate. I mean, I would be comfortable calling that house an estate.
No, I agree 100%, but I wouldn't say that. I think it's the creepy or the mysterious part that I'm...
Well,
That's fair.
Here's the thing. I think.
Well, I think as soon as you get there, there's some creepy stuff that you notice right away.
Yeah, the movie tips its hand from the beginning, I think.
Well, in the very opening sequence, something's not right, and I love the tone that's established with the opening sequence, because we have the one shot of the guy. Mm-hmm. It's establishing kind of a lighthearted tone that just flips on a dime, and that sort of sentiment permeates the rest of the film. It shows that Peele is comfortable moving between more casual tones, but is able to turn on the horror very, very quick and very, very effectively.
So let me ask, before we dive too deep into this, I know Mars saw this in the theater
twice, 2 times.
And did you catch this in theaters as well, El Goro?
Yeah, I actually covered it on my Patreon shows, which is chronicling my theatrical experiences. So yeah, I saw this in the theater.
So going in, did you guys I guess what were your impressions going in? Did you know much about it? Did you have any specific expectations?
I was... I don't know how many weeks had been out, but there was a pretty good buzz about it. I saw it the same night that King Kong opened.
Okay, so it was like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, so there was a pretty good buzz about it.
See, I went opening weekend. The only thing I knew about it was the content that was in the trailer, and the fact that Peele, in an interview, I heard an excerpt saying that he was inspired by certain films from the 1970s, particularly some of those offbeat social commentary science fiction films like The Stepford Wives.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So that was the extent. I didn't even realize that Daniel Kaluuya was in an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah.
We didn't realize until after I watched it. It's like, oh yeah, that was the guy from Black Mirror.
So I think this is obviously, we talked about, this is Jordan Peele's directorial debut, and from what I understand, he's actually quite a fan of horror, which I didn't know prior. But
there's a couple of bumpers on Bloody Good Horror where they use Key and Peele horror-based skits, and one of them about a Gremlins 2.
The pitch skit for Gremlins 2 is just perfect. if anybody hasn't seen that and you're a horror fan, particularly a Gremlins 2 horror or Gremlins 2 fan, you need to go watch that.
I understand that Peele's next. He's looking at doing something with H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, no, it's not H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, it's not?
Well, Lovecraft County.
Oh, Lovecraft. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with H.P. Lovecraft.
Okay, I thought I knew the word Lovecraft was in there. I just fucked up.
Yeah, it's going to be, I believe it's a series.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll dive a little bit more into that. I want to dive into this movie. So I think the thing is this film, obviously the hype had been around. I had wanted to catch this in theaters and just never got around to it. So I was a little bummed out that I didn't get a chance to get a theatrical experience with this. But I think it still played fine. I mean, obviously I would have preferred to see it in the theater, but I think the most important thing about this movie is that it's a good horror film, but it's also an important film. And I think this is a film that transcends horror and becomes something that people just need to see. Because what's Raven Shadow?
I just don't understand why. No.
Wow.
Oh my God.
No. All sticky shit aside, important?
Yeah.
I don't want to throw myself down the stairs.
No. Listen,
God.
No. Not all stick aside.
I don't know if important's the word. I mean, like
it definitely is the word.
I think it's smart.
But tell me, I'm fascinated. I'm just fascinated to why it's important.
I think it's smart. I feel like I can't think of one, off the top of my head, but like I feel like important films, I feel like I am generally better for or enlightened for.
Okay, so sorry, Dynamo, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know that I would consider this. I feel like the politics of this are spot on. They're delivered very eloquently, but I feel like politically this is fish in a barrel, right? Like I don't know that I would necessarily say that this is important.
I totally disagree with you guys.
And I'm with Johnny on that because the thing that it's exploring is a theme that we're all very familiar with. It's been something that's been a part of American society forever, but it's tackling it in a fundamentally different way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we don't need to necessarily dance around it. If you've seen the trailer, get a sense of what this is engaging with. It's engaging with the concept of racism, particularly what I would refer to as the commodification of black people. Now, that can manifest in various different ways. One of the biggest roots of racism is the general dehumanization of the other. The idea that somebody, because by virtue of being different, is considered less. Now, one way that again manifests is in the more overt ways, in the stereotypical Southern redneck, plantation slavery. But the other way that it can manifest is through the co-opting of culture. The idea of viewing black people ostensibly in a good light, but idolizing them to the point that you would remove them from any aspect of humanity.
Right.
You see them as a commodity in order to trade in on, in order to give yourself some sort of clout, or perhaps to make yourself seem like a better person. It's a benign form of racism, but at the end of the day, it still accomplishes the same thing: the dehumanization and the commodification of a person and a culture. And this is a dialogue that doesn't come up that much.
No,
and I thank Jordan Peele for bringing this sort of thing up.
And it's benign.
I just want to piggyback real quick on what Goro said, because we both agree that it is an important film, and I agree with everything Goro said. But I think also on top of that, more on a kind of a bit of a more surface level, is this gives. So you guys know the term white privilege, and
right.
That's something that's been talked about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of gives insight as to what it might be to look through the world through a black person's eyes. Like when, for instance, there's a scene when, like they reach out and touch him. They're like, oh, like almost as if like he's this cute little thing that they've never seen before. Or people, you always hear people, like a lot of black people go up to him like, oh, let me touch your hair. Is that real? Like, it's like this thing. And you get a good glimpse of what that's all about in this, seeing the world through, in this case, Chris's eyes. And that is an experience that we can never have. And I think this film does a really fucking great job of showing what that might look like, of living life how a black person might live it.
It's like it's like how people say that celebrities adopt black children and they treat them as quote unquote accessories. Along that kind of line, they're more interested in the physical aspect of black people rather than just treating them like people. And there's really no difference. I don't know, but people are racist anyway. I mean, this and it showed throughout the entire film. From like you would talk about Johnny about touching him, oh, he's strong and everything. And next thing you know, you hear him talking about Tiger Woods and hey, Tiger's my guy, and
exactly.
all this other stuff.
And just trying to find a way to relate and like,
black is the new thing that's in now, and all this other stuff. And it's a bunch of bullshit. But the racist angle is definitely there throughout the entire film, and he notices it right away. I mean, he's certainly not a stranger to it, I'm sure.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those aspects of racism that doesn't always get talked about, and it's one of those that a lot of people are willing to hand wave. Just as Bradley Whitford characters, he sets himself up to be this ultimate nice guy. The whole I would vote for Obama,
right.
Multiple times. And the thing is, I bet if you took these characters aside and sat them down, they would probably view what they are doing as not being racist. They would view it as being celebratory of blackness, the fact that they chose these people because they were special.
Being inclusive.
And that's how fucked up it is.
It's overcompensation.
Well, it's a simultaneous celebration, but the celebration is in terms of wanting to own it, of wanting to place it outside of a human context. So when they celebrate, the character of Chris in this, they're not celebrating him as a human being. They're celebrating him as a collection of desirable attributes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that play out, particularly in the sequence in the party, where you have the people that are going around complimenting him, only to realize that essentially he is being sized up. He is being appraised, much like, his ancestors would have been appraised on slave
Right.
blocks.
Exactly. You know what? The more I think about it, the more this movie reminds me of an episode. I don't know if you guys ever watched this episode or watch a show at all of All in the Family, where Archie. Look at you laughing.
Because I know you fucking love that show.
Because there's an episode in which Archie's club, the Queens of the Kings of Queens. I
don't think Archie Bunker will be.
Shut up!
Shut the fuck up! Don't fucking tell me to shut up.
Pocahontas.
Go to bed. Fucking go to bed. Nice haircut.
Thank you. He's trying to save his white only club by bad press in the newspaper by hiring one black guy and one Jewish guy. So he tries to induct a guy who has both qualities, Solomon Jackson. So he tries to induct this one guy to take care of two problems that his club is having a problem with. And it's just like this movie here, where like Goro said, this guy's being sized up because he has all the attributes that these people are looking for. They're not looking for a person, just a person. They're looking for a person with the physical attributes that will satisfy what they need.
Well, and so the other thing about this film is, on the surface, it's a horror film. And whether or not you get below that kind of subcutaneous level into some of the deeper stuff, I think you can still enjoy it for what it is. Mm-hmm. Now, I certainly don't want to put words in your mouth, Raven Shadow, and I want you to answer this. But did you get some, like, because when I said that it was an important film, you didn't agree. So did you not get some of the subtext in it?
No, man, no, seriously. This is all joking aside. I watched it. I talked to you. I watched it Monday, and I enjoyed it. I really liked the character of Chris, and I text Dynamo. I'm like, you know what? I see this cat being Mr. Miracle. But like,
they cast him as Mr. Miracle?
No, that's what we
Dynamo did.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
I was getting excited.
Montezero wasn't paying attention because we weren't talking about fucking rape.
And like, I enjoy this flick, guys. But I mean, I think important. I don't know, like, what's an important film? Like fucking the Schindler's List or something. I don't know, but
this is as important.
Honestly, dude, like, this is
never mind about the context. It's what's presented. That's it.
What was presented to me was a gory Lifetime movie.
Oh my God!
This was
you
not
are
even
really saying that this is a fucking Lifetime movie?
And you're saying this is gory?
What we say about certain parts. I mean, like, I don't know how this is different from the husband takes the girl when they get married and makes her go to a desert island. Like, it just seemed,
you didn't get that level, so I'm talking.
No, I got it, but I don't.
Yeah,
but
you wouldn't be saying that if you did.
It just doesn't seem like it's. I don't see what you guys are seeing. I get what you're saying.
Right, so you didn't get it. That's what I'm saying.
No, well, whatever, man. Whatever you want to say it. I don't know how much we're going to talk about. This is still fairly new, right? I mean, it had its twist with their plan. Evil white people.
We can still fully talk about it, just not the end.
Yeah, I want to talk about a lot of the themes and a lot of the stuff that happens, but I don't want to give away the punchline necessarily.
No, I mean, I think that people were. It's hard without saying shit, but like, they were doing their shtick, and they were fucking wacky. The dude knew fucking to leave. He's like, I don't want to go to your crazy. They know I'm black. Oh yeah, they're great. They were all working an angle. And he knew he needed to leave. His buddy knew he should have left. And it was all that, get the fuck out of there.
The thing you don't get, Raven Shadow, though, is this, there's something like, that's an I mean, I'm not black. I don't know what it's like to be black. But that's an overriding fear of everywhere you go. Do people know? Like, is there going to be white people there? Like,
That can go for anywhere. That could be if you're depending on your sexual orientation or whatever.
No. That's what you're missing.
No, you guys are giving it. I
You don't
enjoyed
think
this.
sexual orientation could be masked? You can't mask the color of your skin. I don't give a damn what Eddie Murphy says.
Well, or any other any other orientation, or any of us. Like, I think it's a good movie. I get what they were doing, but I think you're giving it too much credit.
I could agree with MZ because. Absolutely, you can't hide anything. When you're a specific color, people have preconceived notions. You don't know what people think about you or the experiences that they've had. In the past, maybe their family were racist. Maybe they were part of the, like the Ku Klux Klan or whatever. Like you don't know. And if you're
and it's well, go ahead.
That was pretty much it. I was just gonna say, if it's a sexual orientation. That's not a visible thing that people can automatically key in on usually.
And using the term estate to describe the house in which you're going to in order to to meet their family can't exactly help that much. It's not just a house.
Did you say that?
It's an estate.
No,
I think
I don't think they said it.
No, it's in the IMDb thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Goro. What were you going to say?
And the other thing, as far as why he didn't, to crib the line from the title, "Get Out," is the fact that I think they did a good job of establishing the relationship that he had with his girlfriend, and that he was legitimately going to give it a chance. He had a sense of what he was going into, and he alluded to that in his past. But he was trying because he seemed to have a good relationship with his girlfriend. He was going to try to gut it out. And then eventually the weirdness just got too big for him. Plus, it was also the idea that he was far away from home. And he did exactly what you wanted him to do, Raven Shadow. He eventually insisted that, we need to leave now. And then by that point, it was too late.
And give the character of Chris a whole lot of credit for having such a high tolerance level for this bullshit. Really. Yeah. I mean, halfway through.
Well, I think that's once again that he's kind of used to it.
I think that's kind of the point.
Right. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, but to have the whole family involved in something like
but
that, that's more than I think anybody could really even bear.
Well, that was the movie that was very early on with the cop. When she was getting all self-righteous, and he just wanted show the ID.
Well,
he's been there, he's seen that before, and he knows how this goes.
And there's two schools of thought for why she was the way that she was. So she basically was like, "No, you don't need to see it." So you.
Well, there's really only one. She made it another one. She used the politics to hide her agenda.
And that's one of the things I love about this movie, that on rewatches, once you know the motivations of certain characters, it colors everything they do.
Yeah.
When you have the family that is insisting Chris not smoke and get angry when he does, it's presented in a completely different context when you know the twist.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the way that works is on the one hand, it seems like she's, once again, I guess, maybe I won't say it because it gives away a little bit, but there's, where she's kind of standing up for him and he feels better about the way that she handled that, or that, maybe she doesn't want a paper trail,
Yeah, and that's how I viewed it on the second watch.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
With that context.
So, and the other thing with the buck, they hit a buck. Now, that also, to me, is a pretty important thing because it foreshadows two things, basically.
Right.
His experience with his mother, what happened with his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that funny?
What?
I know the ending.
Well, we hope you know the ending.
I hope you saw the ending.
I'm glad you watched the movie, Raven Shadow. I'm very glad.
I hate you so much, Monster Zero.
I think
Thank you.
If it makes you feel better, I'm 90% sure his fucking T-shirt is inside out.
I think so, too.
Like the tag is definitely on the outside.
Yeah. No, it's got the logo on the outside. That's right.
So you were saying the two things that it foreshadowed, the ending and go ahead.
The relationship with the mom, and then also Bradley Whitford's character says something right after they get to the house where he's talking about how he hates bucks and how he wants to see them all dead.
Right.
I mean, if that ain't fucking, like
that ain't racist, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing.
Subtext.
I don't think that was the intended subtext of that.
I don't either.
Because I don't believe, and this is again it's my reading of the film. I honestly don't believe that Bradley Whitford's character would express that kind of sentiment in a racialized context. that I believe that he exists in that sort of benign racism. He doesn't
Right.
want to necessarily see them eradicated or anything. He just views them as commodities to be sold.
He has a that would be like if you were drawing the equivalent of if he was like, fetishes for blondes, and
Yeah.
thinking that drawing the correlation of the metaphor being that he wants all blondes dead, which isn't the case. He's they're backwoods worshiping them.
Yeah.
But they're also, like, to a degree too, on this, like, on my second watch, like, and it might have been me reading into it, like, I feel like they're almost businessmen, right? Like, and
sure.
when, if Korean people, turn out to be the hotness for some reason, like, that will be what they're culling.
They would shift gears.
Yeah.
They would
Yeah.
follow the market.
Like,
but I like the idea that when he delivered the line about that he would have voted for Obama a third time, if that was actually his opinion.
Right.
That wasn't just a
It
put
probably
on
was,
to make him feel
'cause
thing. Yeah, I like the idea of him being simultaneously, so quote unquote progressive, or what some critics have referred to as a West Wing liberal, which is appropriate, seeing as Bradley Whitford was in the West Wing.
Right.
But at the same time, have so little regard for the actual humanity
Right.
of black people.
Well, it's funny because he was also quickly thereafter hand wavy of a generation's racism, while acknowledging that there was some inherent, maybe racism in his lineage.
Well, with his father.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even that, I almost would view it not necessarily as racism, because, the line was, he almost got over it. Did he almost get over it because he was beaten by a black man, or did he almost get over it because he was just beaten? And that's the other thing, it's the idea that perhaps the patriarch of this family was appreciative of the person that beat him, which is why he
Actually, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
In order to
It could be definitely
market their wares.
It could definitely be taken either way.
Because look what that guy does as a hobby.
Well, yeah. What did he do?
Yeah, that was clear of what Once you get it, it's one of those aha moments of like, okay, now that makes sense.
It's incredible how well written this movie was, to ride that fine line between racism and what just sounds like racism.
I don't.
The subtext of racism.
I think all that stuff was brilliant.
It's very well
and
written.
I think if he had, and I actually said this on a in our, like, in the Hossman chat room, actually, and I think it was one of those times where I was playing to no one, but I feel like if he had delivered a more I don't even know, I hate genre, but to put this in a genre, like if he had delivered a psychological thriller with a science fiction bent to it, and it like kind of kept that sort of like Stepford Wives pacing all the way through, where I don't feel like his hand was as daft, where I'm not going to give him a hand job, where I kind of felt this from the first viewing to the second viewing, is I think when you got to the terms where this turned into more of a traditional horror movie, I feel like he... I've heard some people say it fell apart, and I don't think that's the case. Like, we have the luxury of watching films that fall apart most times almost from the opening credits. I don't think it was bad on that level. I think it didn't... I don't feel like he really understood horror films.
I mean, I wouldn't go so far to say that. I will say that the horror of the third act was more of the concept of what was going on, rather than the evocation of tension. The way it was presented, it wasn't particularly a tense sequence, during the final denouement and all the stuff leading into that. What made it work for me was on a more intellectual level. So there wasn't the physiological response, the tightening of the chest, that sort of thing. But there was just the full realization of everything that is going on, as well as the catharsis, on the other hand, of the character of Chris successfully standing up to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the idea that in many ways the conclusion of this it feels like the conclusion of a certain string of home invasion films. The stuff like You're Next, stuff that I have decried in the past. Why I do not necessarily do that in this case is because the stakes were higher than what is typically presented within these kind of human level antagonists, because he was not only fighting for his bodily agency, he was also fighting for his mental agency. The idea that they could do something worse than kill him. And at the end of the day, I think they did a great job of establishing him as a likable character that you wanted to see him succeed in this regard.
But I don't think
any sort of tension that's going to come in the end is going to be solely dependent upon how much goodwill you have for the character. And I still think that there is one particular sequence right at the end where there is an approach of an outside force that when we initially become aware of that force approaching, at least in my case, my stomach just dropped. And it's so much owing to what goes on in the real world and how much it's presented. When you see something approaching and you're just like, oh, fuck, I think I know where this film is going.
Right. Yeah.
Then you're just like, oh, god damn it.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. We're not only conditioned socio-politically, we're conditioned as not just horror fans, but, if you go back to, one of the perennial films that ended up being like a political linchpin, we're kind of conditioned in that way too. You know what I mean?
It very much could have had an ending that evoked that film. I think thinking of the exact same film.
But I do feel on my third watch of this, I was kind of felt it on the second watch, because I hadn't watched it a third time yet when I was talking about it in the chat room, is that they had laid the groundwork for the end of this, for his escape to be very suspenseful.
Yeah.
Because you like him.
Yeah.
They and not only do you have the physical agency of the other two men in the house, you also have a situation where he can literally be stopped dead in his tracks.
And I think the intent of the director with that particular scene was not to create a tense sequence necessarily, not to create a typical stalk scene, which was where they would have logically gone if the intention was to create a tense sequence.
I feel like that's almost what they did in reverse, though, and it almost made it easy and felt a little cheap, as opposed to the sneaking that they could have done.
I think they were trying to go for that catharsis, the idea of fighting back against the oppressors.
Yeah.
That they gave us that. They gave us the fist in the air, fuck yeah sequence, and we had 4 of them. Well, 5 actually.
But and I understand that this is a film, so I understand that maybe that's necessary, but I feel like it is in stark betrayal to the oppressiveness of the other end of the situation, and it's almost not a metaphor for what it's like, for what they're showing, for what this movie's about. If you're going for the the oppressiveness that this person has felt his whole entire life, that he goes immediately to turn over his license, he suspects that on that approach you mentioned, what was going to happen, like what the outcome was, for the way that he's conditioned and the way that the real world is, where they've definitely leaned into that, they've steered into that. You're not getting. I feel like by getting that fuck yeah so clean, I feel like it's in betrayal to the rest.
I mean, I can certainly see where you're coming from, but at the same time, if you're writing from that perspective, as Peele is doing in that, you almost want to have that moment of catharsis. You almost want to have the character get his and sort of become a surrogate for anybody who has been put into this sort of situation. And I have a feeling that if they had gone with what their original ending was, which still plays out much like the same, but with a key difference that very much is evocative of that older horror movie that we're kind of dancing around, then it would have reinforced those themes that you were talking about. It would have delivered on that level. That even after his moment of catharsis, he is still ultimately doomed by the society in which he lives in. However, they opted for a slightly more happy ending.
And I think I'm glad, because it what I expected was not what we got. You know, like you expect, like, oh man, this is going to happen, and then it kind of subverted those expectations, which I was pretty happy of, especially because of everything else that preceded it. Now, we haven't really talked about the kind of the more technical aspects, I guess, of the film, because obviously there's a lot more important stuff to probably talk about. But I do just want to squeeze in here that I think that this film looked fucking great, and I love the feeling of uneasiness throughout.
Right.
It's very prevalent, and it's very much there, and I think that it just really does a service to this film to elevate it even more. And it almost feels like it pretty obviously almost feels like a Twilight Zone episode, because there's something kind of lurking beneath that you don't quite know what it is just yet,
Oh, yeah.
And that's something I think that Jordan Peele did a great job of, because, you could have, a lot of that stuff could have kind of fallen by the wayside because there's more, potentially important things to focus on, like the story and the plot and the subtext. But that's why I think this film works on multiple levels. It's a good film just on the surface, but I think also when you are able to dig deeper and see some of the other stuff, that it works on multiple levels, and that wouldn't happen if the film wasn't made technically well.
I agree, and it was our bud Jakey who he actually evoked the Twilight Zone comparisons when he was talking about this in the chat, and just to address some of the things he was putting out there, because one day I will have to actually sit down and have the full-on conversation about this, because we started getting into it in our chat, but I do readily agree that if you take this film from a top-down perspective, it feels like it has much more in comparison with an episode of The Twilight Zone. Insofar that this film is, I would still classify it as a horror film, but I admittedly have a rather broad definition of horror.
I agree.
This film was going for much more of an unsettling feeling rather than the evocation of true horror.
Yep.
Because there would have been plenty of times that they could have gone in a much more traditional horror direction. So it certainly appeals to it has enough in there that it appeals to horror fans, but I would readily agree that if we were going to be strict in our definitions, this one wouldn't necessarily get classified as a horror film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think that it clearly deals with themes of horror, but it's hard to call it a straight up horror film because there's definitely a lot more going on to it. I think just calling it a straight up horror, it does it a disservice.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is though. I'm hard pressed to think of what a straight up horror film is. I guess
you and me both, man. Which is why I take a very broad definition of horror.
I don't know what that is.
Well, I would say
mystery, suspense.
A lot of the '80s slasher films would be straight up horror to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though actually, one thing
scary.
that I was just reminded of in defense of the ending, and this may be why Peele opted to go with the ending that he did rather than the harder ending than what was originally intended. Because when I saw this in the theater, the majority of the audience watching it with me was African American, and as soon as the suggestion of the climax came up, you heard an audible groan go out through the audience. Everybody was cued in on that one moment of what that meant. And then as soon as the subversion of that happened, there was a cheer. And that may very well be exactly what he was going for. It's the idea that when you have been primed due to our culture, due to our very fucked up events in the news, to expect a certain thing, it sometimes is not necessarily a bad thing to give somebody a win. Every once in a while, because we're at the point where we expect the bad ending when we're dealing with horror films. At this point, curiously enough, the subversion of that bad ending becomes less predictable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree.
I'll tell you what makes this film not important to me. For everything that this movie does right, from a technical end, from a writing end, from a metaphorical end, from a from a smart little elements of costuming, from a pretty brilliant performances almost all the way around, except for Banshee, I'd say. And he just didn't have a lot to work with. I will never, ever, ever, ever. Do not try to sell me smart politics with the most lazy, stupid, boring, cliche character cut away to every 15 minutes in this movie with the subplot of trying to find him.
Oh, you see, I did not find him to be a cliche. Well, I did not find him to be a boring character either.
Yeah, I didn't either, and I felt like it was almost like his connection to his world. Like when he would try to text with him or talk to him, and I think that was important to the film
mechanically
to have
that works, but you didn't have to have it be. That character was right out of fucking Barbershop Central Casting.
Right. But I can understand that. But I can understand what you're saying, Dynamo, and I would agree with you. Only on a different level. I just feel that the film that going with that guy, whatever his name was, it took you out of the Rod. Okay, it took you out of the seclusion of the property that you're on. You're in the house, you're on the property, and everything like that, and that's
Well, writing,
that's what I want. But once you take yourself out, it kind of loses the tension.
That was smart because when you're writing tension so brilliantly like he is in that first part of the film, you it's like a magic trick, right? So you're ratcheting up the tension, you're ratcheting up the tension, you're ratcheting up the tension. If you don't have something for the people to look away for a second, they're going to start seeing, like, the more you show show your hand, the more people are going to see your hand.
Yeah, and the moments of levity just add to to it. I think.
So but I think that
I guess so, but
I don't think mechanically it's a problem. I think I just felt like he was like, I don't know, like.
Well, you see, the thing I liked about him is that because he was so over the top, because he was on the surface level a caricature, the very real issues that he was bringing up and concerns he was bringing up were almost primed to discount him because he comes off as kind of a clown. It's the idea of, well, we shouldn't necessarily take this guy seriously. Look at the way he's presenting himself. But at the end of the day, he's completely right. So you were talking about the magic trick. He is the misdirection that is in the magic trick.
Yeah, mechanically, I think this works. And I don't necessarily blame the performance because I think it was on paper. I feel like this was one thing. I'm 90% sure this was Jakey that said this, and I agree 100%. And it was something that I was having a hard time articulating. I would have had a hard time articulating without his much smarter than me's review, but it felt like the end in that character do the same thing, but I feel like it was for different reasons, right? And I agree with you on why he did the end that way, maybe, but I do feel like it was sort of pandering to a more traditional horror movie film outcome, but
because he did say the reason he did it was because he felt like he had put the viewer through enough, and he didn't want to end it on a darker note.
That's wise.
Well, thanks.
That's a smart move. I mean, I don't know what the darker ending is. I don't know anything about it, but
yeah.
Upon watching the ending, I kind of had a feeling that there was something about it that
the
just
fucking
said,
breezy ending of a Serbian film.
No, there was something about the ending here that I saw that told me that there had to have been a different.
But that character, please, if I may, the friend, the best friend, the sidekick, right, felt like a lack of confidence to me. It felt to me that he was falling back on what he had reformation that he was good at for the whole rest of his career.
I mean, it could certainly be viewed in that context. I mean, he comes from a comedy career. He was inserting comedy within the film, but at the other time, it could also be representative of an audience surrogate. The admittedly stereotypical person in the audience yelling out, "Don't do that, get out." That essentially they vocalize those concerns by putting them into the actual film.
Yeah. Then I think again why I think it does like teamed with like, you know, I don't know. Like I don't want that. Like when the rest of your film is so fucking smart, I don't need to be talked down to at any point. I don't need a signpost.
Consider this: we're also coming at it in an admittedly different cultural context. Because again, without trying to sound too stereotypical, what is the large stereotype that we have about the people that yell out in the theater? It predominantly manifests as a manifestation of African American culture.
Right.
Yeah.
And while that is a something of a stereotype, it is something that is also I have experienced several times,
Sure.
and it's been described to me that can be just a cultural difference. I believe he put that in there as a way of tipping his hat to his African American audience.
Maybe.
I mean, he is coming at this from a different cultural perspective, and he comes at this from an interesting perspective in himself. That he is the child of a mixed race, and he also married his wife is white. So there feels like there's a fair bit of autobiographical elements inserted within this film.
Now, do you think it would have been somewhat exploitive if this was done by a white director?
Well, I don't think he would have had the appropriate. I think that you, as a viewer, you wouldn't be able to get in the right mindset because I feel like you would.
Because you would have a different movie here if it was done by a white director. Because the point of view would be completely off.
Yeah,
I would say it would be incredibly difficult.
I agree.
For a white director to capture the same kind of tone and the same kind of confidence in the tone than what a African American director.
Yeah, and even so, let's just say that in a fantasy world, a Caucasian or any other, but a white male made this film exactly like it is, 100% exactly like it is. As a viewer, I don't think it would resonate the same way because you would be looking at the point of view differently.
Plus, you would also run into that
Absolutely.
weird little thing where it's a movie about white people co-opting black culture, and then you have a director doing essentially the same thing.
The film turns into like a metaphorical palindrome at that point. So
let's put it this way: I have a great deal of respect for Quentin Tarantino. I would not want to see Quentin Tarantino direct Get Out. Because there is nothing more cringy than when he decides to put on his black voice.
Yeah.
The end is, though the end would
That's
probably
just for
work
Jakey.
better. I don't know. I think that and it's why this film doesn't. It's like why this film for me doesn't break the classic. Maybe 5-star rating we'd say is because I feel like that character and the end. And I feel like, in you guys liking it maybe to the point where it's a classic, I feel like you may be justifying a little bit. Like, I feel like that character in that end reeks of business.
I don't think anyone said classic. I mean, at least I didn't.
I feel like there aren't very many bad important films. Yeah, I guess.
See, I'll put my cards on the table. I would actually consider this a classic. I mean, it's still. I will consider it the potential to be a classic.
Yeah,
it's certainly got a timeless plot. I mean,
I'll see where I'm at.
Well, hopefully not. Yeah,
let's hope not.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but I mean,
let's hope one day people will look at it and just be like, "Wow, people were so messed up back then."
The interesting thing about this is,
no, you're right.
So Jordan Peele wrote this during right after Obama got in office the first term, and he just thought it was just going to be for himself because he was like, "Well, nobody wants to see this because racism is dead," or at least that was the hope with a black president.
Yeah.
Right.
But fast forward 8 years, and now things are, have gone in reverse, I believe. And now this is way more poignant than it was 8 years ago, which is fucking incredible to me that we've gone almost backwards in 8 years, which is blows my mind.
I don't.
And that's what makes this film important.
I don't think I think we're the
We
same.
haven't gone backwards.
We're the
It's just
same fucking stupid as we always were.
People just voice their opinions.
Well,
more.
people just I think misunderstood actually what the election of Obama meant, in my opinion. I think they thought it meant that people were enlightened. In the reality, I think it was that people wanted change, and like he was the change of that time. But I think that I don't know. I don't know that you can call a film important and say that it's not a classic unless it's important in its miscommunication.
I think you can, because what I would define as important is one that gives a very good insight into the culture of which it comes out, and it delivers a message that is worth engaging with. What I would consider classic is one that I would enjoy revisiting over subsequent years. So that's the line that I have. And I'm loath to call anything a classic inside of 2 years. I just posted up in our wrestling chat how I'm finally comfortable calling Mad Max Fury Road an action classic because it stood the test of time. We'll see where Get Out goes. I will say definitively, it is the best movie. It is the best horror film I've seen in the theater. Admittedly, I don't go to all of them, but it is the best horror movie I've seen in the theater since The Witch.
Yeah.
So in about a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just think that this movie is confounding to me in its almost, in the fact that I feel like this film was so fucking, and it's not my expectation. Like, I've seen it 3 times in its delivery, and even the first time, I mean, my star rating has stayed steadfast all the time. Like, this is not a film I dislike. This is a film that I would say I enjoyed watching it less this time. But I do feel like I've now gone all the way around it to the magic trick, where I'm seeing behind the box that the girl's at the bottom while they're shoving in swords. Like, I feel like on a third viewing, you almost get too much. There's definitely a line that Bradley says very early on that essentially is the plot of the movie. Like, before he goes around the corner to the Jesse Owens pictures, like, he says his whole agenda, and once you've seen that, like, that's the movie there. You're behind enough on the magic trick. But I think that it really, I don't think the end of this film delivers, and I don't think. I think that the main villain, I guess maybe the main villain in this film, I feel like that whole exchange, I feel like all that stuff works. But the dispatching of everyone else in this film, I feel like is, I don't know, bordering on lazy.
Would you have reviewed this differently after the first time you saw it?
No, because I think I said that. I think when I talked about it on something, I said that I feel like it was 2 different movies. I feel like over time, I figured out why that is. But I definitely, upon second watch, was pretty reaffirmed of why that is. Like, it felt like somebody gets backed on a Jurgen, and now we're in a different movie. Or now we're in the same story by, like, a different writer, almost, or a different director, because you have a masterpiece, perfect in every way, written, delivered, acted into that point. Now, there's not any, it still looks just as great after. I think on paper and directed, it almost feels like abrupt. Like, I feel like it almost feels like there's, again, which kind of reeks of business to me, that he was grappling with the film's running time almost at that point.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, and this might be just a reflection of my sensibilities, because I've said many times in the past, one of the major problems I have with so many home invasion type films, and while this is not purely a home invasion, the threat is comparable, is the lack of, well, just people stepping up. So when we have the character of Chris start fighting back, to me that was such a cathartic fuck yeah moment.
Yeah,
so
right?
I was invested in that, and I was enjoying that, because yes, it does it at the expense of horror, but it fulfills me in another way. It fulfills me in a character that I'm invested in actually behaving comparable to how I would.
Yeah, but I think that I don't have a problem with what he did. I have a problem with how it happened, how it's directed, how it's set up. You know what I mean? Like I'm not upset that there was no reason for him not to, right? Like the other option is him sneaking out of the house and sneaking into the woods, and then you have you have that invasion of the body snatchers type thing that you are hoping that who you're talking to isn't in cahoots.
Which was one of the other alternative endings.
Right.
So, an ending that was highly evocative of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, so I feel like it wasn't like I feel like he was really good at this one thing and not as good at
I think Jakey is putting it eloquently here when he says, I think it comes down to if the horror mechanics that carry a movie 80% of the way, but it has no eloquent way of fitting into the climax. So you have to abandon what worked so you have an appropriate ending.
I agree. And that's almost what I said in the chat that day, if we can fucking scroll up 6.5 weeks to find it.
No thanks.
And you know what? I can readily recognize that critique, but because the ending was still satisfying to me, that it still played and it still worked for me.
Yeah, and I think when you get emotionally invested in a character, you kind of want to see something good happen. And I think that it depends on what you're going with. If you're invested in the character, maybe you'll like the ending, or if I don't know. I guess it depends on what really you glom onto. If you're into the horror aspects and what makes the film work, maybe you do want a different ending. So it's interesting because this definitely had a different ending and he went a different way. And so I think it's an interesting choice. And he definitely was going in one direction and went in an entire different one. So I want to start to wind this down because we've been talking about it for like a little bit over an hour now. And one of the things that hasn't been brought up, but I just think it doesn't really bear discussion, but kind of an interesting thing, is one of the film tropes, especially in slashers in the 80s, who always dies first?
Black guy.
Yeah.
Black guy.
So
that is actually just a reductive stereotype that doesn't hold up when you start actually
thinking of it.
Yeah.
Fucking Dudley survived.
None of the demons.
Yeah,
but
Dudley
but it is
survived.
one
Dudley survived.
It is what the expectation is.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like almost like an
they
urban legend racism.
Well, they started bringing that shit up in Scream 2, so
yeah, which means that it's fully gone through when the mainstream is parodying it.
Yeah.
Right.
And one of the other things I thought was interesting is that Chris, being a photographer, is kind of sets the tone for looking through his eyes throughout the entire movie. And I also think that the beginning of this movie was very important with showing a lot of his photography being in black and white, which I thought was an interesting choice.
Yeah,
that's a very good choice.
I wish they had done more with that, actually, as opposed to it just being a plot device. Like I felt like that was that's an interesting part of his character that really just got boiled down to like a wooden stake.
Yeah, and even when he meets the museum owner, not the museum, but the art dealer.
Stephen
Root's character.
By the way, I really enjoy Stephen Root in this movie.
I enjoy him in everything.
Yeah.
But I thought that was an interesting discussion, and obviously is a bit of foreshadowing as well, So I think I love the way they played with some themes throughout this, and especially like I had mentioned with the buck earlier. One other thing, one note I was going to mention earlier, but there's a god, Cernunnos, who is depicted, I think it's in paganism, depicted as a god with antlers, the antlers of a buck. And you'll know this, Goro, because your boy Cuernos from Lucha Underground, right?
Yep, King Cuerno.
Yeah, King Cuerno. And so bucks were thought of as a powerful creature. And I think that's why that was also part of the other interesting thing about the buck getting hit. And it's kind of some of that running throughout the film. So the other thing...
It also has a slightly more disturbing context.
It does,
one of the slurs that often gets referred to in African-American men is referring to them as bucks.
Bucks, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to touch on before we start to wrap this up is the sunken place, which... obviously, I think that in itself is such a brilliant use of I just think it's a brilliant use of subtext because it it's basically marginalizing the person, you know. And I think that is such a powerful thing in this, that, you know, like once you see it, it's like, oh shit. And then when you really kind of think more about it, you think about what is happening to Chris, and, you know, sort of how, I don't know, I just thought that was super powerful.
And one actual complaint that I will level against the film, just because it subverted one thing that I was looking forward to it. If you watch the trailer, there's a sequence that is obviously occurring within the sunken place where he comes face to face with the skeleton of the deer. And it's presented in this really interesting, kind of out there visual style that really got me invested in the film. Yet for whatever reason, it was cut from the theatrical, but it's in the trailer.
I'll have to check
so
that
it would have
out.
been nice if they had if they had kind of amped up some of the psychedelic imagery that was suggested in the trailer, but they decided to scale it back for the theatrical release.
That didn't work so well for me. But I think that it wouldn't have, like, the first time that he had that, I guess we'd say, confrontation with Catherine Kinnear. It again, like, I feel like it was so eloquent the first time that it happened. And then when it was happening post, I feel like it was it felt more gimmicky. Like I felt because of the packaging. I feel like he, on both ends of that, he was like, you had this big special effects sequence, probably the most broad special effects sequence of the whole film. And he was fucking amazing. Like, they did more than they needed to do because he showed it all. Like, you know, like in his fucking being torn apart. Like, that was probably that initial scene when he was like in that leather chair upstairs in that office.
Yeah.
Was also not only evocative of what was happening, it was evocative of what you'd expect from a cliche horror film, because the monster was tearing him apart, but tearing him apart emotionally, which I don't think has been shown better in another movie. When they went back around to it, I felt like it was unnecessary it was pandering from a storytelling point of view, because you knew what was happening. You knew what was going on behind those eyes after we saw it already. And I feel like it just was like a little cheap. But more so, I feel more so to its credit than in my other complaints, more so just because I feel like, again, that was an incredible scene.
Yeah,
initially.
I don't mind the visual callback to what was going on. Yes, we could have simply shown the rictus on his face, and I think that Jake was accurate in pointing out that as visually interesting as the sunken place was, the true horror of that sequence came from the expression of Chris in the quote-unquote real world.
Right, but it worked again. But it worked the first time. Like, do you guys like? I think I'm doing a bad job. Like, all my complaints in this movie come from the fact that it ham hocks itself in that last act some way. Like
and even that, I can completely see where you are coming from, and I readily recognize that my enjoyment of the climax is predicated upon my sensibilities as a film goer. That it worked for me because of who I am. So to that end, I don't find any criticism of you simply because it did not work for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. I certainly don't feel like attacked. Like I feel like I am surprised that we really haven't argued at all. But I feel more so like I was worried I wasn't getting my point across. Like, because I feel like, again, I don't necessarily agree with Jake's overall review, if I'm remembering it properly, from 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday when I heard it, in the sense where I don't think it's a bad visual at all. I think it's a great visual that they show it again and dumb down the packaging of this. Like for me, this is like. This movie is a fucking 6-star. This movie is Okada versus Omega that ends with Ibushi running and blowing mist in people's eyes. Like that's kind of.
Wouldn't it be a Yano run-in with a low blow?
Yeah, well, I neither one has anything to do with the with them, but the same thing. Like,
one way or the other.
yeah, or ends with Braun Strowman tipping over a fucking ambulance. Like,
Hey, that was beautiful.
Like I didn't like I don't want that. Like I got high art in horror, which we never get, and then I feel like they pandered to what I consider the generally lowest common denominator of filmmaking, which is like tipping like for a film that was so fucking taunt in not showing its cards, they just fucking start throwing them at you at the end of the movie. Like, remember this? Just in case you don't remember.
That is a climax. It's okay to start revealing your hand by the end of the film.
Yeah, but not
even Jaws. They eventually showed the shark.
Yeah, but you don't have to fucking remind me why. Like what that is. Like, it's not like it's a character. It's not like we forgot that the Deep Dark or whatever was a character. I felt like it was just a matter of like, I feel like I'm going to lose the audience here if I go for the more powerful play.
All right, well, I want to start wrapping this up. There's a bunch of other things I want to talk about. There's so many little things in this, like just the idea of what Catherine Keener's character, I don't recall her name, Mrs. Armitage.
Yep.
Like, I don't think there's any, I don't think it's no accident what she used to hypnotize people.
Right.
A silver spoon,
Yep.
like there's a lot of little
Good
nice
pull.
little touches like that I think are very cool, and definitely upon repeat watchings could probably give you more insight as to some of these things. So,
I mean, just a cup of tea alone is is sort of evocative of a a higher hoity-toity class.
Yeah, sure. So there's a lot. This is a pretty dense film, and something that I'm going to steal a term from El Goro. There's a lot to unpack here, and I think that this is something that definitely would reward the viewer on repeat viewings. And like Mars said, if I watch this a second or third time, I might be with you guys, you and Jakey, in the fact that maybe the ending doesn't work as well because it's coming,
right,
and you're kind of in on what's going to happen. So I could see maybe seeing that, but the first time through, it was very gratifying for me as someone who is kind of following the arc of the main character.
Sure.
And for me, it totally worked. So the only thing I'm going to complain about this film is the fucking Microsoft placement was really annoying.
I loved it.
Oh.
But there was a Bing reference in here, guys.
Yeah.
Better than iPhones, man.
Yeah.
There's a Bingo reference.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy. That scene.
Yeah, I don't know. I literally on first viewing I was like, I don't know if this is a good choice. On second viewing I was like, I am irritated by this person. On third viewing, when there's not a lot to look forward to, we'll say, I guess if that's fair, like I aggressively hated his best friend. Like every single time he was on, I was like, ugh.
I still enjoy him. But
Yeah,
then
like-
again, I'm only 2 watches into it.
Like
so.
I feel like we're like dealing with like. I feel like there's for the first part of the film, there is the fucking brilliant movie and there's the multiplex movie, and like I feel like every time they cut to that fucking guy in the scene where he's at the fucking police department, or the FBI or wherever the fuck he ends up.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, I
like
thought
that's
that
what
was
you're gonna put in this fucking movie?
Yeah, I thought that whole scene was a complete waste.
You see, but again, the reason I like that sequence is because they're setting him up to be ridiculous. They're setting him up to be the clown, but at the end of the day, he's still completely right.
Sure.
And I'm at the point in my fandom that I enjoy subversions of the trope because the trope is so familiar.
Yeah.
But what would he would have done had he got there?
He probably would have got bunked on the head and been somebody else's.
He didn't know what he was getting into, though.
Right. Yeah. He didn't.
He had no idea.
Yeah. He wasn't.
But, a good friend shows up anyway.
Would you show up for Mars Raven Shadow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you show up for MZ?
No.
But then again, I can't.
Yourself.
Then again, I can't see anybody being like, I can't wait to fucking move into this body.
And one of the things, and speaking of the
Trick or
subversion that I
treat,
like, is
baby.
how often do we see in films where somebody
would
is
say
bringing up a legitimate complaint and they seem reasonable, yet the authority figures completely dismiss them. And how often do we hear it's like, oh well, these cops are so fucking stupid, they're not even willing to listen to this people, and it feels like such a stretch. By making the warning come from a ridiculous place, that is a subversion of the trope.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy. Not,
So,
I readily
I feel
recognize
like-
not everybody's going to dig that.
Was it
subversion.
intentional? They were black police officers, as opposed to
No.
white.
I think that
Is
was
there-
designed to potentially remove a racial dynamic from that.
Yeah. Like I think that I actually was giving the film more credit and thought it was more of a subversion on the fact that in these films that you end up having like some sort of social commentary, there are a lot of instances where the unlikable character ends up being right.
Just like Night of the Living Dead.
Well, we went the whole fucking review without mentioning it.
All I can say is that still remains to be seen whether or not he was right.
Yeah. All right.
We
well,
don't know.
let's head to the verdict on this one.
Trick or treat, baby. I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We're going to let you know whether Get Out was a trick or a treat, and any final thoughts we may have. Let's go to El Goro.
Okay. I think I tipped my hand pretty early, but this is absolutely a treat for me. It directly addresses something that is happening within our society in a underexplored way, and I believe it does so eloquently. It effectively establishes tension throughout and delivers a cathartic ending that is certainly appealing to my sensibilities, but then again, I'm the guy that's constantly yelling at everybody in these movies to just fucking kill those hipster douchebags that are targeting them. Seriously, they weigh fucking 90 pounds. There's nothing scary about a 90-pound hipster douchebag in a sheep mask coming at you. Fuck you, you're next. Anyway.
They were Marines. They weren't hipsters.
Bullshit.
They were killing They were
Those guys
killing
look like
hipsters.
Those guys look like a stiff breeze was going to knock them over.
No.
And don't even get me started about the motherfuckers in The Strangers. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm with you with them. I would have like been doing fucking wrestling holds on them. Me and Liv Tyler would have given total elimination. Like it just like fuck them, but like no, you're wrong. I can't wait for your next show. I can't wait for it.
Your next show.
Yeah.
Episode 300.
Unfortunately, you're not gonna fucking
Johnny.
you're not gonna get to say anything because you're gonna look out your window and I'll shoot you in the neck with a crossbow like Ty West.
And I'll still tear it out and come after your hipster ass.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, I don't have a hipster bone in my body unless I
know.
ate one.
But if you're anyway, fuck it. I went off on a tangent, but I loved Get Out. I loved it the first time I saw it. I loved it watching it now, where you got to see the actions of the characters informed by the twist. This wasn't something that felt like it was cheapened from knowing the twist. And I have a feeling this is a film that I will continue to return to because the characters were well-rounded. They were enjoyable to view, even the comedic relief character. Though, granted, a lot of my enjoyment of him is also predicated upon the subversion of the trope that he represents. But that's the kind of horror that I enjoy. I enjoy horror that is aware of tropes, subverts tropes, but doesn't necessarily do so in a wink-nod kind of fashion. And I think Get Out was able to avoid that particular pitfall. So yeah, absolutely a treat for me and a potential classic.
All right, let's go to Raven Shadow.
I gotta say, Goro filled in the blank for me. That was a word I was looking for.
There's a lot of blanks.
Yeah, I know.
You shoot blanks.
I know. Well,
If only Mama Zero was.
I know. Yeah, that'd be really nice. It was an entertaining siege movie. It's really what it was. Johnny, I'm fucking fascinated. I'm just remarkably intrigued. What else is a and MZ? I want to hear your. I'm feeling masochistic. I want to hear your thoughts. What's another important film?
Well, we said Schindler's List, right?
No,
Yeah,
he didn't.
He did. Someone did.
You did.
Yeah, no, that's why.
Yeah, you
know,
did.
I know what I said, but I'm fascinated by
Night
your
of the Living
perspective.
Dead?
Yeah.
As important. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't think Night of the Living Dead is important, you don't have a very good grasp of what was happening then, even if like it was unintentionally.
Yeah, no, I get it, and Johnny, I'll tell you, I fucking get it. There's nothing subtle about this movie. There's not the evil jerky kid with a white car in the beginning. I mean, I think we kind of get what's going on, man.
You're mad.
No, I'm just. I get it. Like the scene in the party, they could have all been zombies the way they were touching him.
Yeah,
Like,
but
I get the race. Well,
but there's zombies aren't real.
Yeah, but
zombies don't live in this fucking world.
Yeah, but this is
we don't need to.
movie.
It's not a.
I'm just
it's
fascinated.
It's not a siege movie.
Or whatever you want to call it,
But
the
this-
home
but-
invasion, whatever the fuck.
But the
It's not a home invasion.
but the
Whatever, you guys
the-
fucking make me fucking laugh.
no, hold on,
motherfucker.
hold on a second, Raven Shadow. That's the magic trick, though.
I get
The element of the racism that you get is kind of distracting you from the more subtle racism. And one of the best forms of misdirection is pulling something up. It's like hiding in plain sight. It's pulling something up to the front so you're not seeing. Like, these people aren't. These aren't burning. These aren't people who are burning people at the stake.
No, I get it. It's totally. I enjoyed it. The hyperbole, though, is just I just find it fascinating. I do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that
I didn't mean to come off as hyperbolic. I
No.
enjoyed it.
No, I'm just fascinated. I'm utterly fascinated. I think this is the most important review we've ever done.
I think. Well,
This is a fucking important review.
Well, I think that it's. I think that.
I think the
I
first
understand-
100 episodes are coming out again.
I think
Raven
why
Shadow.
it's important
fascinated.
to these guys and why it's not important to me
It doesn't have to be
is
important to everyone.
is on a technical level. Like I feel like or a choices level even. I feel like I feel like the filmmaker takes some hits to his credibility with some of his choices. But I understand why these guys think that it is. Like I mean I don't think it's outrageous to say that. I was surprised that two people that I respect as much think that.
Sorry, Jakey said something funny.
Was he making fun of me again?
No. He said Teen Ape was important.
Teen Ape was important.
And then he said,
Why is he going after me?
And then he says Raven Shadow thinks the black dude was invading their home.
He was driven there. They invited him in. He has his powers.
Shit.
The dude was great. He was very shot. Great. It was very good. I enjoyed. It was a good film.
Did you give your verdict?
Treat.
Okay. MZ.
Oh man.
Yeah, people in the chat room are like, a siege film?
Well, whatever you want to call it, whatever the somebody being brought into a family to be abused, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the term is. So sorry, what the fucking right terminology. But whatever that, it could be, and you know what I'm fucking talking about. Someone being brought in.
I understand.
You know what's the term, El Goro? Give me some hyperbole.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, because even though it's not technically a siege film, the threat being presented is comparable, insofar that it's a human. One guy versus a bunch of guys.
Right. The protagonist is trapped somewhere, whomever they are, and they have to try to escape.
It's a reverse siege film. He's got to break out.
All right. Then
That's why it's called Get Out.
Exactly.
Right. Night of the Living Dead.
No, you know what? When I was watching this, I was reminded a lot of the movie Society. If we're going to go back to Brian Usner earlier on the show,
Thrill of the hunt, thrill of the shunt.
right? And man, this movie had me in its grasp really early on. The only problem I had really was the fact that I felt it was a little bit too predictable. I was able to figure it out maybe a third way through the film.
Like a third? You figured out like everything about it?
Not everything, but I kind of had a feeling I knew what was going on.
It's like, hey, they're racist.
As far as the film goes, sit down, Captain Crapper.
No, what? Oh, so you figured out that there was there was like a fucking.
No. I knew what the spin was.
So you had a heads up early on.
Shut up.
Cheeky Pooh says that home invasion horror.
Yeah.
Corny says it's a slavery film, not a siege film.
Now, if you want to see a movie like that, then I'm sure
Watch
Goro.
Fetus.
I'm sure Goro has seen it. Goodbye, Uncle Tom.
Perfect.
That's a vicious.
God damn.
That is a vicious, vicious movie. Going back to this, expertly written. It was written by Peele, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Man, this cat's got some chops. Bing. This cat's got some chops, man. I'm telling you, he's good, and everyone in this movie was really, really fantastic. Performances, the camera angles, I thought were pretty interesting. There were some interesting camera angles in here that set off a very different vibe that I wasn't particularly used to. But it was very engaging. I was rooting on Chris the entire time, and a very well made film, very well lit, and I so far I've only seen it once. I do plan on watching it more because this was really a well made film. This is a treat.
Also, as we're watching in studio, the other thing that I wanted to point out, kind of like the silver spoon, is what he used to put in his ears. I certainly don't think that. Yeah, I don't think there's any. I don't think it's not lost on a lot of people.
Good pull.
All right, Mars man. Your mic's not on.
This film was somehow predictable and very well written at the same time. Apparently, it's like fucking Leonard Maltin Mad Libs, but
wait, what?
Stringing together words that sound like sentences. This was a treat. I liked it. Follow me on Letterboxd. You'd see, right, Joe? Joe's still here? Yeah. This was a treat. And T-Nape is important. He's important to the Paranormal Investigation Squad. Fucking sent Hitler back to hell. Even though they lost Boat Chain. Those films are very, very racist. They make me feel really, really bad about myself, and I will never watch one again.
All right. So for me, this is definitely a treat as well. I think it's pretty amazing what Jordan Peele was able to pull off with his first film. I think not only is it incredibly well made, it's also very relevant in this day and age, and it's a great horror film.
Nice peel off.
So I think, and in my estimation, there aren't many important horror films that have been made over the last several years, but this is one. And I think he's clearly a fan of the genre and has great reverence for it as well. And you could tell through some of the writing that he certainly knew what he was doing, and he was crafting a very well-made film. And I think this is a film that people need to see, whether or not you end up liking it or not. I think it's, and that's why I say it's important, because I think it's a film that people should see, because it definitely gives a perspective that I think a lot of us don't get. And I think that's, to me, that's what makes it important. So for me, definitely a big treat. I recommend this. I think everyone should check this out at some point or another. And it's available on VOD now, so there's no excuse. And
if you want a great double feature of two clever films that subvert the genre whilst still kind of move it forward, and both have Bradley Whitford, be sure to check out Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
No, don't
Agreed.
That's a fucking
Don't
important
do that.
film.
Yes.
Agreed.
That
Don't
plays
agree.
all the
I'm not going to
tropes.
say it's an important film, but it is a good film.
No, I'll tell you why it's important. If not for Cabin in the Woods,
We wouldn't have Thor.
I never would have argued with Stephanie Wiley. Weird for me, I never would have had
true.
a show with
you
her.
would never have met Stephanie if it wasn't for that film, I think.
Right.
Yep.
Well, no, I would have met her, but
Wouldn't have hit it off.
yeah.
I just had to throw that in there for Wolfie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate it, buddy.
That's a good movie.
Everybody's been getting it on the show. We got to spread the love.
The other thing I wanted to, well, I guess we're going to wrap this up.
No,
But
do it. I know you got notes you didn't do. You're all mad at me, Raven Shadow.
I ain't mad at anyone.
That's a very important paragraph you got to.
No, it's not. It's not a note. It was I forget what it was, but the one of the videos that he watches in the game room, it was something of Coagula.
Mm-hmm.
Behold the Coagula. That's what it was, I think, right?
Yes.
And so did anyone have any insight into what that was all about?
I have no idea. It's a cool name.
Yeah, wasn't that with Malcolm McDowell? He played
That's
Caligula.
Caligula.
Wow.
At first I thought, I didn't look it up, but I think it had something to do with blood or something.
Any coagulated mass, precipitate, clump, or clot.
Right.
So, coagula is it basically means to dissolve and coagulate. And so solve et coagula. And it means that something must be broken down before it can be built up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense then.
So just, sort of a little bit more insight, I guess. And that's why I think this film is so fucking smartly written, because every little detail has some bearing on what's going on.
Right.
Everything had a purpose. And that's what I love about it. And I think it's a finely crafted film, and I definitely think people should check it out. So
Wolfie.
Yeah.
Blood coagulates, and I was in a film called Blood Pigs.
And you stabbed a house.
Yeah.
Jakey had the best definition for coagula. Dig through the ditches and burn coagula.
That's what Raven Shadow said.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Goro did it better.
Jakey said it. Who said it?
I fucking said it.
It's outrageous.
All right, so that's gonna wrap up our review of Get Out. It got a little heated. We got some good discussion going on. There was some smart stuff because of El Goro. So, but next week we're gonna review a Korean film from one of our favorite Korean directors, and that's Kim Ji-woon. And the name of the film is Age of Shadows. Ooh. Which I believe we were looking forward to last year, and it never came out.
Yeah, I can't fucking wait. It's gonna not go over very well with anyone other than us, though. I can't wait.
Yeah, probably not, because once again, it's 2 hours 20 minutes.
The fuck?
It's a fucking Korean movie, Raven Shadow.
God damn it! Yeah, you should know this by now, dude.
You can carve out some time, and I'm looking forward to it because Kim Ji-woon has not let us down yet.
Nope.
And I'm looking forward to checking this one out.
That's about a half an hour longer than the movie we just reviewed. What the fuck?
And Monte thought Miller's Crossing was convoluted, so I'm sure that this one's going to go down like a smooth.
Yeah.
You've seen this?
I have actually read a lot about this, which I generally don't do. Because it seemed like from when I could have saw it in theaters, if I wanted to drive an hour and a half, to when it actually came out, it was a long fucking time. Like I feel like I've been waiting 6 months for this fucking thing. So... But it also, there's an... I'll save it for next week.
Cecil says another Siege film.
A reverse Siege film. Thank you, Goro. I feel Goro said Siege film. Play back the tape.
He did. He was referencing Home Invasion in the sense where he wasn't saying that it was a home invasion film. Though I guess in a way you could say that part was reminiscent of Home Invasion. He was saying in the sense where home invasion films don't work for him. Because he would just beat up the invaders. Well, he wasn't saying that.
Not necessarily because I would beat up them, but I have difficulty finding things scary if they have a physical component to them.
Let me put you over, Brom. Contradict me.
Yeah. So be like, so a bunch of motherfucker take one motherfucker and keep him in a house movie, trying to get out the motherfucking house movie. To try to get out the fucking house genre. How's that?
Perfect.
First time Mike says Raven Shadow got a phrase borrowed from him. That is some meta shit right there.
A phrase borrowed from me? What's that mean? What did he say?
What I just said. That's what he said.
Jedi in the streets, a Sith in the sheets.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, I fucking named that motherfucker. I fucking named Patsy. I'm fucking... who's next, Johnny? Motherfucker, quote me all the time.
Yeah, back to. I quote. I'm not.
You yelled at your partner?
Uh-oh.
Like back?
I went back and listened to episode 42 today. Because,
No. It's okay. So who's next, Johnny?
Because Coop was on it, and Mars was mad that I didn't give you your basement dwelling intro.
Well, you should get a good intro.
The good intro?
It's not a good intro.
You two had a blood feud going on back then.
I don't remember what you're talking about at all.
That was pre-crisis.
This is more. This is more of your subtext that you're always trying to put in things.
I think what's important, Johnny. Mm-hmm. I think what's important is where we're at now.
Yeah, I think.
You know where we're at right now.
I think what Johnny's trying to say.
Yes. What I'm trying to say is we need to head to a fucking break. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
One dark and stormy night in the mid-'80s, Joe Bob Briggs, Harlan Ellison, and the ghost of El Santo pulled a train on Elvira while Siskel and Ebert sobbingly masturbated in the corner. From that union arose the greatest movie critic and luchador that ever lived. But we're not going to talk about him. He's kind of a dick. Instead, we're going to talk about me, El Goro, the stuttering movie fan and host of the Talk Without Rhythm podcast. Every week on Talk Without Rhythm, I discuss 2 to 3 movies tangentially tied together by a theme. I cover action.
I'm the most complete fighter in the world.
Sci-fi.
Open the pod bay doors, Hal.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Horror.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
And the continuing adventures of James Spader, sexual deviant.
You're not worried that I'm going to fuck you, are you? I'm not interested in that, not in the least. Now pull up your skirt.
So check me out at tworpodcast.blogspot.com, drunkenzombie.com, or subscribe on iTunes. Talk Without Rhythm, the only podcast that will not attract the world. Adios!
I'm Alex West. And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
All right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio. It's been some conversation going on during the break.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monsters Hero fucking saved his. I'm so pissed. He saved his ludicrous hairbrain.
Yeah, for the break.
It wasn't ludicrous. You know what's ludicrous is you talking into the mic while we're on break. Twice.
So El Goro could hear.
No, he can't hear through the mic.
Well, I didn't know that. Am I the producer?
I can kind of hear.
He could hear, yeah. But
Am I
not
the
through
pencil
mic.
pusher of all media? No.
No, I was just listening to the instrumental of Double Damage because I still fucking love that.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's an important song to me right now.
So Goro, I got to ask before we head to feedback. I know you typically have to get up earlier than some of us. Are you cool to hang out for a little longer? Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm cool to hang out.
Okay, cool. So we don't have a ton tonight, so it should be a little bit breezy.
Cool.
But we're gonna head to feedback right now and check in with some folks.
Monsters Hero thought the Asian guy was possessed.
Easy peasy, George and Wheezy. And I didn't say that he was
didn't say
possessed.
Well, I was trying not to give away.
Okay, I understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
I don't have that reading of it.
Yeah.
But
no.
it's interesting.
He's got an interesting brain.
Thank you.
It's not necessarily a compliment.
Shut up.
All right.
Just play the goddamn feedback.
Let's kick it off with Creepy Girl.
Hey guys, Creepy Girl.
Hey baby.
Wanted to give my 2 cents about Get Out. I freaking love this movie. The thing that amazes me about this movie so much is that Jordan Peele written, produced, directed the whole thing. Like that comedian from Comedy Central that made that movie Keanu made this amazing movie. Like, I'm just floored that he made such a well-made movie.
He just starred in Keanu.
Yeah.
The movie,
Him and Keegan.
I love how it felt so much like an M. Night movie. Because there was, the thing I like about M. Night is there's always this point, this pivotal point where it just slaps you in the face what is actually going on. And that's how this movie was. There was just this one moment. I can't say what it is because it'll spoil it. But this moment where I'm like, holy, like I couldn't believe it. I was just like, it wasn't what I was thinking. Like, I don't know. I had these theories, but what it actually was surprised me. And the guy, Little Ray or whatever his name is, the funny friend, he added such great comedy to this. And I think the acting was just like well done. There's parts of it I didn't really understand, but like later on, I talked to people about it, and then I was like, yes, and it's just such a well-made movie. I really think this could be up for a lot of, put horror in the award shows and everything. I just really like it. It's probably going to end up being my number one for the year. I have a strong feeling, but the year's not over yet. But yeah, definitely a movie if you have not seen, you need to see. It's just a really well-made movie, and just a really unique, good story. Very unique. There's nothing like this out there. I really, really loved it. And good job, Jordan. Very impressive. Very impressive for like your first directorial debut or whatever. That's all I gotta say. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
You're welcome. It's me, Jordan Peele.
Thanks,
Don't
creepy
do
girl.
that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, that's not. After all we just did.
Why? That wasn't like any sort of that was like a evil mad scientist voice.
It could be worse. It could be Raven Shadow's voice. Don't do it, Raven Shadow. I love you, man. Don't do it.
He's not even
Okay,
here.
good.
He's not here. He's still smoking. Yeah, I think you need an extra long smoke break.
Still smoking.
Like I said, man, get the hypnotist.
Yeah. Yeah, we should ask him about that, actually.
Yeah,
Send him to the sunken place.
Yeah, when he comes in. All right, well, let's hear from our buddy Riku.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio, it's Riku. So you guys are talking about Get Out. Get Out is a fantastic movie that I know it's got the certain setting of, black guy goes into all white neighborhood, and something about that setting even set off alarm bells in my head because I'm a very introverted person, like a lot of people are. I don't like big crowds. I don't like being introduced to new people in awkward situations. And boy, did this movie just ring off alarm bells in my head. Like, no, this is bad. There's something bad happening here. You need to get out. Of course, as the many characters say in this movie, it's amazing. There's some Academy Awards that may need to be doled out to this film because there is some pure pained acting going on. Anyway, also, of course, I got Injustice 2. I love it. It's great.
I beg your pardon?
2. I do hate that my current favorite character to play as is fucking Damian Wayne Robin. Damian Wayne is terrible, but he's got such good combos. Alright, you guys have a good rest of your show. Bye.
Thanks, Riku. Mars, you didn't get Injustice 2 yet?
I don't no.
Oh, I thought you pre-ordered it or something.
No, I don't.
Hey, welcome back,
I don't have money.
Tonto, out there smoking your peace pipe.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's called a callback, folks.
That's good, yes.
Raven Shadow, it was asked when you were out, when you're out of the room, would you go to the sunken place and would you get hypnotized to stop smoking?
This time last year, I was very much in a sunken place, Johnny. As we approach, but I have since crawled from the depths. No, your boy ain't quitting.
The springs in the couch were kind of loose.
So even if you could guarantee you'd stop smoking, you don't want to.
No.
You like those 5-minute breaks every 2 hours, right?
I do. No. 5 minutes break every 2 hours.
Fucking smokers get breaks that non-smokers don't get.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They don't.
That's actually true.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Not in my organization.
Then everybody must smoke where you work.
If you tell me that you want a smoke break, I will tell you to go fuck yourself.
No. That's listen.
Without any fear of getting in trouble or anything else, I'll say go fuck yourself. If they let people smoke where you work, it's because someone stupid and generally inept is in charge. And by the way, congratulations on your promotion.
Yeah. No, if
Thank
you
you.
want to work at the fucking ex-cons and fucking, stepmoms, that's fine wherever the fuck you work. But it's a 10-minute break, and that counts from when you leave your desk for the elevator ride. And if you can make it outside and back to your desk, then you can do it. My office is right off the street, so it's whether you go.
You planned it that way.
Yeah. When I fucking designed the building,
close to the exit, so you could go smoke.
When I went to architect school to figure out where I'd work,
No, it's not. It's whatever you do. You take a lunch. If you eat lunch, or if you go outside, it's still your lunch break. It doesn't happen like that.
All right.
I have very important breaks. My breaks are very important.
So Riku asked about Injustice 2. I think someone else is going to talk about Injustice 2, so we'll hold off on that. But he was saying that Damian Wayne happens to be his favorite character at the moment. So I've heard a lot of good things about Injustice 2.
Well, I'm going to be playing Mortal Kombat this weekend. I'm very 2000.
Oh, that's what you got. Okay, that's right.
I'm very 2016.
Well, hey, nothing wrong with that. We never got a chance to play it, so.
And it also costs $9.
Oh, Jesus. Jesse G's hanging out now. What's up, Jesse G?
Booyah.
And Corny says, I am surprised that Raven Shadow has been watching these movies lately. He's still going to be expelled to Mars in 2020, though.
This is corny.
That's okay. That's me, right?
Ooh, yeah.
To Mars. Good job on Mars. All right, let's hear from our buddy Arkham Josh.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio guys, it's Josh from the Arkham Film Society here. Just calling in with my thoughts on this week's film. So this week you guys are covering Get Out. Like last week, I didn't get a chance to rewatch the film, but I saw it when it was in theaters. So my memory is fresh on it. I think this is a really good film. It's a really strongly made film. And an important film in many ways.
Perfect.
So, I mean, long story short, I'm just going to say it's a treat. And it's a definite
This
recommend.
dude is from Rhode Island. Let's take everything he says with a grain of salt.
Sitting down, I settled into the film. There's definitely some things that I saw coming, but then there were some things that I completely had, no inkling what's going to happen. So I thought that the story was pretty well written. I thought that the acting was great. I thought the direction was great, and that the film really had a great atmosphere. I think what was actually most important, though, is the conversations that were started in the aftermath of the film. Now, I'm hoping you guys probably discussed a little bit of this in your review, and hope that I'm not, blowing, things. Well, when you get down to it being not necessarily a film about racism, but a film about cultural appropriation, people change their attitude after they see it. My day job is I work in an auto parts warehouse. It is a very, mixed ethnicity group of people. And I'd say probably close to half of the people that work there, most of the younger guys, all saw this film. And with people, like white, like myself, or African American, or Hispanic, or any number of different things, they were very open to conversation about it. They actually had a handful of questions for me after the film, partially because they know I'm kind of the horror movie guy, and it's a dense film. There's a lot going on. Not saying anything against any of these guys. It's just for a mainstream film, there's a lot going on. But the most interesting conversation that I had was where two of them brought up the concept when they were curious that as viewers, were they potentially being racist because they just immediately assumed the white people in the film were racist. I told them, obviously, the film was setting you up that way. They wanted you to think that. So, no, I didn't believe that made them inherently racist. But through the conversation, I think we came to understand that what's really important, a really important part of the message of this film is understanding and that not to make a knee-jerk reaction about things. I think in this time where there's a lot of people who say they want conversations about certain topics, but then, like, if you look at the internet, quote-unquote conversations are generally just, people of two differing opinions just using rhetoric or, just giving, emotional reactions and opinions, but nobody's actually discussing anything. And I found it very interesting that something that people took away from this was that, maybe you actually have to stop and understand where somebody's coming from, and maybe you actually have to, have a conversation with them. Like the good example that we came up with in conversation, based off of their questioning if they were being racist, is that, if somebody says or does something that somebody finds offensive or questionable, then that's exactly what they should do, is question it, not just have a knee-jerk reaction to, ban that person or whatever, to maybe have a conversation with them, because that person might not be racist. That person just might be the definition of ignorant and just not know any better. I don't know. I know this is a rambling thing, but it was a film where, as much as I liked the film, I found the effects of the film far more fascinating. But I mean, like I said, amazing film. It's a treat. It's a high recommend. I look forward to everything that he's going to work on coming after this. I think the direction was fantastic. On another note, something that you guys might cover in the not too distant future, I saw Raw last night, and there's some conversations to be had in that film.
Yeah,
I'll keep that under my hat in the hopes that you guys cover it.
You probably will.
Not too far from now, but it's worth a watch. So, hey, I hope you guys all like the film as much as I did. I hope you guys are all having a great week and a great evening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
Awesome.
And I think
Yeah,
you brought up a
awesome.
lot
No
of
one
really
except
good...
me and Wolfie were paying attention to anything you had to say.
was
Monster Zero's
paying
watching.
attention.
Well, I can't see what you're
I
doing.
was listening.
Raven Shadow's writing a book. Monster Zero had a fucking full-out comedy sketch on his phone.
I heard him. It was an important film.
Yeah.
Actually,
I listened to what he said.
I
did not tune him out. Shut up.
No, you, him.
I got some breaking news though from my buddy.
What's going on in Ohio now?
Oh, fucking, it's gone.
It's hot as hell.
Our boy Victor Infante is talking about the Lovecraft Country. Jordan Peele to produce HBO series Lovecraft County with J.J. Abrams and Misha Green.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. People are very excited.
Are we gonna cover Raw?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
More Braun Strowman.
If at fucking the 2-hour point in that movie, pyro doesn't happen and it doesn't just say that it's Raw's War, I'm gonna be pissed.
It's gonna play the old theme song.
Who has fucking worse music than the WWF?
It used to be better.
Oh, it's like fucking.
I don't know. I'll take the original Raw as War theme with its incomprehensible lyrics.
Well, that's what I'm talking about,
over-
with John Oliva
Yeah.
singing and Scotty
yeah.
N on guitar.
Wait.
That I'll take that over the ECW theme.
The real one?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one.
The real one was a Rob Zombie song.
Was it?
Yeah, they just
No, I thought it was originally Marilyn Manson.
No, it was Dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun,
that.
dun,
I
La
must be hearing an edited
Sexorcisto.
I must be hearing
For
an
Raw?
edited version. Like, if
No,
I,
no,
if
for
I go- if I
ECW.
go
No,
watch
he's
it-
right.
If I go watch an ECW show on the network, you'll hear Heyman going extreme.
Yeah, that was
shit."
White. That was White Zombie.
Was it?
Yeah.
They must.
Not on the network.
It was-
Nothing. Yeah, on the network,
Okay.
it's like some really. It's goes. Oh man, I can't remember it. I hate it too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I never watched ECW in the original run, so I assumed that was just.
Yeah, the original run had La Sexorcisto from White Zombie.
And then they had a remix of it later on down the line.
So how about this for fucking...
I hate this song.
Really?
Yeah.
I love this song. It's got John Oliva from Savatage. It's got Scott Ian from Anthrax, Kenny Hickey from Typo Negative, and Gary Meskill from Propane, and Tim Malaire from Overkill.
Fucking love
What was
propane.
this used on?
Can you show the
Propane. What was that, Goro?
What was this used on?
This was the original Raw Attitude Era theme.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the thorn in my eye theme.
Oh.
Which is when I came in. Which again, the lyrics are completely incomprehensible. Though one of the greatest videos, if you look it up, it's like WWF stars try to figure out the lyrics to the Raw theme. It's hilarious.
I just saw Bret Hart walking down the road and Scott Ian palling around.
I've never seen this before in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Post it in the chat. I gotta watch this.
I never knew there was a video.
Yeah. They used to intercut it with, in the show.
Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer, yeah.
Oh God, a close up of Paul Bearer.
Are they in a church?
This is the greatest shit. Fucking Kevin Nash,
Sorry.
HBK.
I love how Sean's walking down the street in his ring gear, like shirt exposed.
I would.
Hey,
Yeah.
he's a sexy boy.
Yeah.
Well, because you'd never know what he would look like if he actually wore street clothing.
I can't believe you guys haven't seen this video.
No.
I wasn't watching. Is there a fire in that building?
Did he just sing about Razor Ramon? Did he just say Razor Ramon?
Yeah, let me post it in the chat.
I just watched the Razor Ramon WWF propaganda documentary.
Yeah.
I didn't know he killed some dude for real.
Oh yeah, that was a shoot.
Yeah. No pun intended.
First time Mike says, "Well, I gotta fly, guys. You all have a good night, and I hope you're still my dude, Raven Shadow Bombaleo."
Love you, big
Good
ups.
night, FTM.
Cecil says this episode has been great so far. So much dissection of Get Out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whole
Oh,
lot.
believe me, we could probably talk about it for another hour if we really
I don't know
wanted
about
to.
that.
I love the core riff on this song. They used to play it after when the pyro would go off.
Right.
Yeah,
After they did "Thorn in My Eye," they would still follow up with this riff.
Yeah, right when it, like in the second hour.
Oh my God.
No, it was the first hour.
But I don't remember.
I love he says his fucking catchphrase at the end.
Who does?
Bret Hart.
I don't.
There it is. Sorry.
It is a.
This is transporting me back to the days when wrestling actually had metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of the shit. Because a case could be made that yes, there was a lot of terrible music in the 90s and early 2000s of wrestling, but
At all.
the fact that they would actually get a shitty metal band, that's infinitely better than Flow Rida.
Right. I. It's so funny. Like every time somebody talks to me about Attitude Era, like pro wrestling, like it's like just a blur. Like I don't remember any of it. Like it just didn't fucking. My brain was like Teflon, and none of that shit stuck. Like I'm watching ECW that I fucking not only watched, I used to record it and watch it over and over again, and I don't fucking remember any of it. Like it's just like this.
Well, there was so much going on. It was they called it car crash television, which really, well, that's what it was, because it seemed like every segment something interesting was happening.
One thing that Riku actually had mentioned that I meant to ask real quick about Get Out. So I don't want to talk. I just want this to be quick. But do you guys think that that Get Out will get any Academy Award consideration?
I could potentially see a nod towards was it David Kaluuya?
Yeah.
No,
maybe no. I'm trying to think.
If that character got cancer, then it would be Academy Award winner.
One thing we actually didn't talk about in the review at all was the score.
Oh,
I love that main theme.
Yeah, I actually did have a note about that. We just never got to it. But yeah, I think it was fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to evoke that creepy tone, and it was just a great little track.
Yeah,
I ended up downloading it because I really enjoyed it.
You might see some supporting actor or actress nominations coming out of this too. I mean, I thought Catherine Keener and Bradley Whitford were really quite good.
I thought the girl that got her ass eaten out on Girls, I thought she was good.
Yeah.
Oh God.
That's somebody mentioned that in the theater in front of me when they were trying to figure out his.
Hey, that's the girl who got her ass eaten out.
Wait, who was that? The
That was
girlfriend?
That was the girl who with the ass stuff on the HBO show.
So, the one thing I did want to mention about the theme to Get Out is there's part of it that was in Swahili, and there's
Yeah.
No.
What?
You're all of a sudden like proficient in Swahili.
I didn't say I was proficient in Swahili.
But
Why
you can
is it
pick it
mad
out?
to you? No. I'm
Yes.
talking about the end theme. It was during the end, right? The closing
Well,
credits.
and the very beginning.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning.
One by A, I think it's probably butchering it.
So it's
Let me look it up.
the phrase translates to "listen to your ancestors," and the song's lyrics loosely mean something bad is coming. Run.
Or Get Out.
You certainly got that tone from just the music of it.
Yeah, and so Peele said the words are issuing a warning to Chris. The whole idea of the movie is get out. It's what we're screaming at the character on screen. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting little thing.
Yeah, the title, the track is Sikilisa Kwa Wahenga.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking good, dude.
Good shit.
Meleke Meka Hakai.
Nice.
No,
It's good.
don't.
It's good. Yeah.
Mecca like a high?
That's your fucking champion right there.
I actually have the full translation here. If you want to hear a little bit of it.
Oh boy,
God.
here we go.
I know there's something in the wake of your smile. I get the notion when I look in your eyes. Yeah, you've built the love, but that love falls apart. You're a little piece of heaven that turns too dark. Listen to your heart when he's calling your name. Listen to your heart. There's nothing else you can do. I don't know where you're going, and I don't know why.
All right, well let's hear.
But listen to your heart.
Let's hear from Cecil.
Thank you.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio. How is everybody today?
What's up, Cecil's got a good
Cecil?
voice
He
too.
does.
Just wanted to call in with a couple of things. Well, firstly, my microphone is much better now.
Yeah, I sound great.
That's a good thing. Last time, I didn't really record it that properly, but I'm glad that it seemed to go all right.
We got an opening,
And,
Cecil.
That was a great episode. 250.
Thanks, man.
Well, I gotta say, Dynamo, I know I've heard him talk about Injustice 2 coming out, and I'm curious, would you ever think about picking up the mobile for free? I mean, it is free to play, the mobile version, and it comes with all these ridiculous prices for the characters and things, but if you play it every so often, take it out of your pocket and do whatever, it's a really cool game. Because you can set your DC heroes and villains on missions, operations, in the meantime when you're not using them, and they level up and bring you money. So I've been having a lot of fun in the DC universe through that game. And I did the same thing with Injustice, the first one, on mobile. I just like them because I need something to do. They're good little ADD time wasters. So if you weren't considering it, I wanted to say it's pretty solid for me so far. It's just been released, so they're updating it still. Things are still appearing in the game, but that's all the more reason to start leveling your dudes.
Yeah.
Can you play other people?
So the second thing I wanted to talk about is, you probably heard Alien Covenant's coming out.
Yep.
So of course I took all my Criterion, Arrow, Midnight, Vinegar Syndrome blues of the Alien series, the box set, the good one with all the shit in it. And of course I watched all of them, and I think I've become addicted to Blu-rays. And I wonder if this has happened to anybody else in your community. Like, I want to see Alien Covenant in the theater on the big screen when it comes out, and I used to think that was a good way to support the filmmakers. Now, are you really supporting them by going to the theater and the big screen? How valuable is a big screen, really? When you can have that home blue experience, you get that electrifying feeling of handling the discs, opening them, inserting them.
Yeah.
There's not much inserting at the theater, So
Depends on where you go.
I might
Depends on which theater you go to.
Covenant. You guys think that's a good idea to just wait? Because I really nowadays, like, everything's getting so many good releases and they just keep coming. It's like, do you really like a film or a franchise if you don't own any of that franchise on Blue? Like, without the Blue, even if you went to the theater, you're a bit of a poser right? I mean, who likes Alien more? You know, the guy with the box set, or some guy who saw Alien in theaters? Anyway,
Fuck him.
Just been reflecting on that. Would love your thoughts on that. And have a nice show. Peace out. Bye.
All right, Cecil. Thanks, man. And yeah, you sound great.
Yeah.
Thank you for the voicemail once again. And as far as Injustice 2 goes, I downloaded it on my iPad, but I just haven't had a chance to play it yet. So I do have it. Maybe I'll dive in a little bit in the next couple days. And Cecil said in the chat room that you could fight against other people's teams in the arena.
Yeah.
So you can do some kind of PvP, I guess, in a way.
Why did you point at me when you said addicted to Blu-rays?
Because you're addicted to Blu-rays. You've said so yourself.
I don't recall.
I don't think he said addicted. He likes them.
Yeah.
Let me get.
There was the time that you said that you wouldn't watch a movie because it wasn't available on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
it is true.
Well, I'm not.
That's
I'm
almost the same thing.
You're right. Sure.
So
I'm addicted to heroin. I will not smoke weed.
You know what? I'm looking at you right now. I do not believe for 1 second that you even tried heroin.
No.
You wanna?
Do you wanna? Yeah.
That's good. Don't try heroin.
Yeah, I won't try heroin.
Good life advice.
I know that you haven't tried heroin, but you are dressed as a homeless man.
Thank you.
Says the hobosexual.
Well, at least there's sexual in that.
No, I will say, addressing one of Cecil's points, if you do really like a filmmaker and have the option of seeing it in the theater, you should see it in the theater, because sadly, while I am a huge proponent of home media and I'm a huge proponent of buying the stuff you like, sadly, the culture of Hollywood is still very much wrapped in on the theatrical take. And if you want to support a filmmaker, not necessarily a Ridley Scott, he's going to be secure pretty much with whatever. But if there is a filmmaker, a younger one that you really enjoy, such as like Ben Wheatley, see their movie in the theater, get those numbers up, and encourage other people to do so, because they need that in order to secure funding for future projects.
That's what they care about, because when you go to, like, if your film flops theatrically, if it gets released and flops theatrically, that's what people remember. They're not going to remember that, like you sold millions of units of Blu-rays. Like,
right.
That just won't matter to
in
a lot
20
of people.
years. Somebody might appreciate that They Live sells a lot of Blu-rays.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Right.
case in point, Dredd. I mean, that movie sold really well on Blu, but not enough to get a sequel.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, I think that that's the true. I think Hollywood circles would think that you don't have a real film if it's not released theatrically.
Fucking cans are saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. No, exactly, because they're not going to allow Netflix films into their festivals, from what I understand, or they're at least talking about it, because they don't view them as real films. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic. Theatrical releases still are king as far as the industry goes. So I would say I would basically piggyback on that. If something comes out theatrically you want to see, go see it, and then you're probably, if it's something you love, you're going to want to see it again, and that's when you own the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And do you guys, to address this other point, do you guys like the process of taking out a Blu-ray, kind of thumbing through your discs, pulling one out, putting it into the player? Like, is that something that's gratifying to you guys?
Absolutely. It's. I like to have things that are tangible. I want something physically in my hand that I can use to put into the DVD player and just enjoy. And I don't know. It's a self-satisfying gratification. I don't know why. Maybe it's because, from your youth, because, you used to have records, tapes, whatever, and, VHSs and things of that nature. And, you feel better with it. You have something physical in your hand.
I think it all depends on the person, because I honestly...
I'm just going to say, nowadays, especially the millennials, they got everything on these.
Well, I'm not a millennial, and I don't like physical media anymore.
Yeah, well, and I'm in the weird place where sometimes I'm in the mood to watch a movie that I know I own, but I'm so lazy I don't want to get off the couch, so I check the streaming service to see if it's streaming.
Yeah.
And then begrudgingly walk upstairs to get it off my shelf.
Well, you mean I got to get up?
I got to get up? What the fuck?
I think physical media is I think it symbolizes something now, because when things were physical media, art was valued. The streamlining of being able to get media is,
See,
was.
I don't agree with that, man, because when we had physical media, you still had a bunch of shit come out.
Well, I'm not saying all art was good. I'm saying that, but also, if you bought a shitty record, you bought it.
Yeah, I guess. But you could also rent shit, so by that logic, the rental store was devaluing art because you were simply borrowing the art. You weren't committing to it.
Well, there's libraries too, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's a matter of.
I'm proud you said library.
Wow, it's got me angry.
Whoa.
It's
I totally missed that.
I heard library.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Maybe I was projecting.
Yeah, I think it's a matter. I don't think it's actually spot on to the politics of the issue. Like I said, I think it's symbolic of.
I will readily agree with where the culture is going, and how physical media will. I can foresee a day that physical media is treated like another form of physical media, vinyl. So it's the idea that the majority of the world does not listen to music on vinyl. There is an audience for it, and they're willing to spend a fair amount of money for it, and they will appreciate the pickups they have. So there will come a day, and we're rapidly approaching it, that to seek out a physical copy of a movie is going to have that sort of implied greater investment. And I think that that'll be a rather unique time in history because it will be a truly niche thing. And it might be comparable to when home media was actually coming into play, where you had, VHS tapes, and before that, you had people that actually had certain movies on reels that were watching it like that. But I don't think we're there now. I think we will be heading towards that direction.
It's all about seeing reading the liner notes, reading the back of a VHS box, the artwork involved.
Yeah.
You don't get that with digital, and that loses something to me.
Well, half the time I throw away the liner notes.
The
equivalent, because how sometimes they'll put like a little sticker on the back that actually has the back of the movie, especially in a steelbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, I throw away that.
Yeah. I don't care so much about movies unless it's like my Criterion like Kurosawa stuff has like books and stuff, but
that I enjoy reading. I enjoy reading the essays.
Yeah, but I think that I agree with you. Unfortunately, El Goro, I think comics will be the last to fall.
Yeah, I think
we're the niche of the niche.
Yeah, and I think that digital definitely has its market, but there's a big tug of war going on, and I think that the stores, that the floppies are still winning.
Yeah, though I will say this,
good. I think
I do, and I still support them, but I've never been closer to quitting comics for the most part, because I feel like not only are they not as good. I don't think the talent isn't there. I think there are restrictions on the medium. We're hurt, but I think comics look and feel like fucking trash now. Like they feel like fucking Us magazines.
Well, they're probably getting the cheapest stuff possible to make as much money, right?
Well, but I also feel like they're also like ultra glossy, and they have no tactile.
There's the push pull. When I was a kid, and it would have been the same when you were a kid, because for a long time, the paper stock was kept the same, and it was that kind of thicker stock. But then they went to the glossier stuff.
Sure, the backs of their paper.
But one of the advantages of going the glossy route is that you can support more colors.
Right.
So it is that kind of push-pull that, once upon a time it did have a thicker stock, but the art has arguably gotten better.
I don't know. Have you picked up a fucking Avengers comic lately?
Well, it is interesting that for years, I wasn't buying comics monthly anymore just because I couldn't support the habit.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm back buying comics, but now I'm buying them digitally.
Oh, interesting. What are you reading?
Only Dark Horse stuff. I'm reading the new Alien and Predator books.
Yeah. That wasn't dismissal.
No. I'm a huge Alien and Predator fan, so I like the fact that Dark Horse is back.
Oh, yeah.
They had put it on hiatus for the longest time, and now I'm picking up the new issues, and I think they're killing it.
Until recently, those Predator books would have been something I bought and probably didn't read because I collected Predator books.
Mm-hmm.
But I've had to.
Well, you should read the new Predator book because they're referencing characters that showed up in previous Predator stories.
Nice. I'll probably get it in in a collected form because I'm really down to like my 70s staples, like my Power Man, Iron Fist, and Black Panthers and stuff like that, and like in Avengers and a Batman book. Like when I tell you my comic order cost $36 when I ordered it yesterday, like that might seem outrageous to you, but anyone who knows me, that'll be shocking that it's like.
Oh, dude, there was a time in early 2000s mid 2000s when I moved back to the States and had access to comic book stores again. I was easily spending $40 a week.
Yeah, I was on a $40 a week pace too for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I started getting back into comics with the summer of Civil War and Annihilation.
Oh, okay.
And I got everything, especially Annihilation.
I went through my books yesterday, and I took the huge omnibus-size encyclopedia pile at the bottom that had like 5 or 6 issues of each that I hadn't read yet, and said, I'm just not fucking reading these. And did a big culling. And like literally it brought my, like I was spending $125 a month on comics.
Wow.
And I was like, why? Like there's a fucking reason that there are 5 Great Lakes Avengers right here. Like, I'm not going to fucking read that. Like, I'm getting it just because, like, they fucking tricked me.
Yeah.
Like, I rebelled against it when it said X-Men, but they fucking fooled me when it said Avengers. And I have, like, 22 Avengers books that I'm reading right now. You know, it's just fucking ugly, like.
New Avengers, Uncanny Avengers, The Mighty Avengers, The Avengers.
I mean, it's funny
Avenging
that there was a time that I read nothing but superhero books, and now I'm
US
pretty much
Avengers.
reading nothing but horror and tangentially horror-related books.
Yeah.
I mean, I just went through the complete Crossed, which I bought all digitally.
Yeah, I'm very
'Cause
sorry.
I'm a sick man.
That's the book. Like, if I don't feel sorry for you. Because if me and CDR, like, talking about it for a couple weeks in a row publicly, feeling bad about ourselves didn't scare you, that's me and fucking CDR.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Cross Plus 100 was an excellent series.
I hated it.
Why?
The Alan Moore one, I hated it.
I fucking loved it.
No, I hated it. I think I talked about it on the show. I felt like it was, like the language, like there was so much I hated about it.
It took a while to get used to the language, to be fair.
That's
it was basically like going back and rereading Clockwork Orange.
Right. Well, I feel like, I don't know if I said this at the time, but something you said here that was very telling on our show that we talk about a lot. Like, I think that if I was engaged, I wouldn't have been as bothered by the language.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it ultimately comes down to. Because you have to put yourself in a very different mindset. But then I was finding some of the slangs permeating my own speech, so I was definitely invested in it.
I think I read it up to where they found the library.
Yeah, it goes into some interesting directions after that.
Yeah,
it's Alan Moore, so it's kind of a slow burn anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I do love that little line that they were talking about. Just like, I came across a book called The Road. I realized it was fiction when they were only eating one baby.
Oh, no, you know what? I read, you know why I quit? Because I felt like it was heavy-handed. Like, that's why I remember. I think I went a couple more after that because they were about to invade the
Cross camp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, this weak sauce.
Trust me, it goes places after that.
Yeah.
Good places, in my opinion.
All right, we got 3 more voicemails. I want to get to these, so let's go. This is just called Tiny Danzig.
Huh.
Hold me closer. Black jean baby, sad little baby, singer in the Misfits band, smoky eye, pirate smile. You're pissed off at Michael Graves again. You think you're a ballerina, you should have seen ya. You're not speaking with Doyle again. So hold me closer, Tiny Danzig. You can't choose Sigourney Weaver because you think she's stealing your likeness. That's just how she looks, you stupid jerk. It's not like she's wearing tight jeans and tight black pants. So hold me closer, Tiny Danzig. You had a bad day again. Oh, how it feels so real. Up there on stage, singing with the misfits, but then became only you. Because you became as pissed off as Axl Rose. So hold me closer, Tiny Danzig. You had a busy day today. If you're nice, we'll go boycott Ozfest. You're still the smallest, meanest man. So hold me closer, Tiny Danzig.
Sake! These broken wings.
No, Nick didn't even crack.
No,
that's pretty good.
that breakdown, I was like, fuck, I wasn't. I'll tell you this. Anybody that thinks Danzig's a jerk for hating everybody else's band's never been in a fucking band. I'll tell you that much.
Danzig may be considered a jerk for starting fights with people that are much bigger than he is.
Yeah.
Well,
and
to be
getting
fair,
knocked the fuck out.
everyone is much bigger than he.
Maybe height, but not necessarily width.
You know,
even Beetlejuice.
like Chris Benoit murdered his kid. I think that's the only height for height equal he has.
Oh.
What?
Still too soon, I think.
Sorry.
All right, we also heard from Nicholas.
Oh, I like that guy.
Yeah, he talks about Predator 2.
Nice.
Hey, Trick or Treat Radio, Nick here. I want to do a quick little review on Predator 2. I sent one review into Cult of Muscle because I've been listening down on the episodes, and I hit 111.
I like that better.
And they had Steven Scarlatta on, and they were talking about the trilogy. And it was really cool, and they had like a blast talking about Predators 2, and I actually have that Blu-ray set that has 1, 2, and 3. Well, 1, 2, and Rodriguez produced one. And I never watched 2, so I want to mark that off my shame list. And this was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude.
This thing has screen caps galore. There's a listener on Cult of Muscle, Kelly, and he always brags about like how he screen grabs a bunch of shit to post on like Instagram and Facebook and all that. And man, this has a ton of them. The whole like where Danny Glover runs down the stairs, grabs Busey and throws him against the wall, and then slaps his hand and walks away. I don't understand it, but it's so funny. And like just all the sayings, like pussy face, when he calls the Predator a pussy face. Sorry, I'm laughing thinking about it. But no, it's great. Like, so cool. Like those Rastafarian gangs. Like this movie. Like I was reading like reviews on this, and someone was just like, "Man, this is what I love. Movies where Hollywood didn't give a fuck. You know, like they're just like go out and do whatever. Now we gotta have make sure it's this, and make sure they don't be politically correct, and make sure Captain America hates Nazis, and like, who cares? Like, just go out and be crazy. This was so much fun.
I don't know that that's mutually exclusive to Captain America.
I'm trying to think. It was just that whole end fight scene with him and the Predator is great. Like, it's just Danny Glover running around, jumping all over the top of the roofs. Predator breaks one of my favorite scenes is the Predator falls off the building. Mm-hmm. He goes into the other apartment, and he starts like breaking glass and like making some kind of meth to like heal himself. I don't know what's going on. This was a wild one, but I really
the raw
loved
materials.
B+ for me. Definitely check out Predator 2 if you've never seen Predator 2. It's the best. I got to go back and watch the first one, see which one I like better. But this was a blast. Thanks, guys. Bye.
I always liked Predator 2 more than the original Predator.
Yeah, you're one of them, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I did.
I have a great deal of love for Predator 2, but Predator 1 is just so special.
Yeah. Yes, but Predator 2 has something that the first Predator doesn't.
What's that?
Morton Downey Jr.
This is true. I will give him Morton Downey Jr., and it does have King Willie.
Meanwhile, in Hollywood, I got a pitch for you. Let's have a movie about Captain America, where he's okay with the Nazis. He sort of likes them.
I love the idea. Why don't you go right for Marvel?
Come on it. He's like,
You better wait for 2017.
He's like, you's got blonde hair, blue eyes. I got blonde hair, blue eyes.
It would have been nice if Captain America actually talked with a really thick Brooklyn accent.
Yeah.
The entire time.
I guess he's real handsome in real life. He works out at Dominatrix, the same gym that Dominatrix does. Like
Captain America?
Yeah.
Or he used. Well, I mean, I don't think he lives.
Are we talking
here
about
anymore.
Captain America?
No, he still is. He's there as soon as the dog was there. Yeah.
Chris Evans is from around
Here.
this way. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought he was. I thought he was a Massachusetts.
I hear
guy.
mostly he's in England trying to get Edgar Wright drunk for some reason. Like,
Wouldn't you?
Probably. That Cult of Muscle Predator retrospective, I've maybe listened to it 900 times.
That was great.
Like when
as much as you've seen Safe Haven.
When I was in the hospital initially, like that just dropped, and I listened to it like fucking crazy. Like I listened to that thing all the time. I loved it. And Kelly's.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and Kelly's just not a listener. That dude is my fucking hero. I like how many fucking movies he buys. I like how he fucking loves things, even when it's shitty. He loves them.
Oh yeah.
Like I love him.
All of us could stand to be a little bit more like Kelly.
I agree 100%. I'm not gonna ever drop my bitter ways, but
Dynamo's already kind of like Kelly with the shitting.
That's true. That is one thing we have in common.
All right, we got one more voicemail. Let's hit this one up and get the fuck out of here.
How's it going, Pukes? It's your friendly neighborhood Munster Churro here. Calling in again to apologize that I was not able to leave a voicemail last week.
You son of a bitch.
To be quite honest with you, I just couldn't take my eyes off that fucking train wreck of a show. Being choo-chooed along by snazzy shirt wearing Michael Ravenshadow. I know. Relax, Mike. I know. It wasn't your fault. The booze was flowing, the bongs was bubbling, and hey, I gotta say I had a hell of a time. But anyways, guys, congrats on 2.5.0, and I'm really excited, for every episode you make. I'm pretty sure everybody's Wednesday on the boards. I feel like you make everybody's Wednesday just a hair brighter. All right, toodles.
He brings up an interesting point.
What is that?
You, my friend, were fucking wasted last week.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah,
you were. Did you not listen to the show?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
No, you were fucking more obnoxious than anything else.
Thank you.
No, she's right, and you didn't even have a drink.
That's right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm naturally obnoxious.
Fair. Yeah, no, you were in I'd like to say rare form, but that's pretty much how you used to be all the time.
Yeah, well, no, it was a party atmosphere. I don't think it was bad. Bad words weren't said.
No, everybody got along. You did ask about a guy who wasn't in the movie.
No, listen, it was fun. People expect that, and they also made, they have a good sense of humor.
They called me and said they're never coming back.
Well, so did Manborg.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Where's Manborg?
How is the Manborg?
Did you ask him about Connor Sweeney too? You fucking ass. You too.
Listen,
I'm sitting there petrified to talk because of how I fucking slur my words.
You forgot a few comments too.
I forgot a few comments?
Yeah, words. You forgot your question.
Why, that's because people started saying fucking drunk crazy things and talk about the movies they were in.
All right, let me just double check. It looks like
Aries was here. Jarrett was here.
Yeah, we were there.
You're just reassuring yourself, aren't you? At this point?
I'll be reassuring myself when I get home tonight.
All right, we do not have any email. And I think that's going to do it. So, El Goro, thanks, man. It was awesome hanging out with you. And you brought the thunder with the conversation. I always love talking film with you. And this is a great film to have you on to discuss.
It's always a pleasure sitting down and talking with you guys. Always have a blast.
Absolutely, my man. And why don't you go ahead one more time, let folks know where they can find Talk Without Rhythm.
All right. Well, if you want to check me out every week, you can check out the main website, twrpodcast.blogspot.com, or just anywhere you look for podcasts, just do a search for Talk Without Rhythm. As I said, this entire month, I'm covering animated films. I'm leaving Japan this week and going into one of my favorite forms of animation, stop-motion animation, with 2 flicks that I haven't checked out yet. One is from Wes Anderson, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Should be interesting because I have a interesting relationship with Wes Anderson. And the other one is from one of my favorite stop-motion studios, Studio Laika, with the film they released last year, Kubo and the Two Strings. So I'll be checking those out.
Nice. I've heard good
supposed
things.
to be a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
That's what I've heard. I kick myself for not seeing it in the theater because I'm a big Studio Laika fan. But for one reason or the other, I never got around to it. But now I own it, so I'm going to be talking about it on the show. And hopefully I don't get too bugged by Wes Anderson.
You already did Plague Dogs last year, right?
Yeah, well, one of the years.
Oh, yeah.
What was that? Come on, Mars?
Nothing.
I heard you.
I may or may not love Wes Anderson, so there.
Okay. He is one of those guys that every movie I've seen of his, I end up enjoying. But it is the idea of Wes Anderson that bugs me.
You mean that he's so handsome and sexy? You know that he's not the same guy that made the Resident Evil movies, right?
It's not that one. There are several Andersons working, but he just always comes off and presents himself in a very sort of pretentious hipstery way. His films are never that way, and I need to fucking get over it because I've always enjoyed the movies of his that I've seen. But I don't know, there's just something about his aesthetic that just seems so... It feels like all of his trailers should have ukuleles playing, which is something that Jake would get.
Like Danny Boyle, he pisses me off like that.
See, Danny Boyle I like.
Yeah. Listen to some of the stuff from his fucking press junket when he was talking that he did make a horror movie.
Well, yeah. I try to ignore those kind of comments.
I wanted to fucking tase him. I hate him so bad.
All right, well, everyone go check out Talk Without Rhythm if you haven't already done so. Goro is one of the best.
No, Goro is the best film critic.
Not even. Not even.
No, he is. Shut up. He is. I don't like his personal alignment choices as far as other podcasts he deals with, but I do think, and I say this all the time, I used to think it was just me, but in listening to other podcasts, the amount of times that you're referenced and quoted, I think, is probably the most telling evidence of your influence and value in this community, sir. And as great of a podcaster you are, you're a much better dude. So.
Yep.
Thank you, brother.
Hell yeah. So everyone go check out Talk Without Rhythm, and it's always a pleasure, El Goro. I'm sure we'll do this again sometime soon, whether on Talk Without Rhythm or here.
Oh, yeah. I got to get you guys on the show. It's been a bit.
Yeah, whenever you want, man. Always down. All right, MZ, why don't you say goodbye?
Arrivederci, douchebag.
Raven Shadow.
Live fast, love hard, die with your mask on.
All right, Mars Man.
Pussy face.
Pussy face.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in episode 251 of Trick or Treat Radio. Thanks to everyone that contributed to the show. Thank you to everybody who gave us feedback, everyone who tuned in for the live show, everyone who checks out the podcast on Friday. We appreciate it, and you guys are the fucking best. So thank you, and we'll catch you next week for 252 when we check out Age of Shadows.